The river was only like 20 feet across. I would have landed and instantly gone onto the ground.
Yeah,
it was a stupid. Looking back at it, it was a stupid idea, but we gave it a shot.
I approve waterboarding. They're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside.
One-side air railing.
A new dimension.
All right, we are back. Another episode of the Grab Matters podcast. Today, we welcome on a very special guest, good friend of mine, Gibby Corcoran. How's it going, Gibby?
It's going good.
Good to have
I'm
you in here.
excited to be here.
You excited to be here? You excited to wakeboard tonight?
I am
Yeah?
extremely actually.
Yeah? You got
Yeah.
the itch, little itch for it?
I'm itching.
Okay.
I'm itching.
You're
I've
gonna
been
see-
riding a lot.
Yeah, we're going to see Cap 10 tonight?
That's an early claim.
Well, I'm asking.
You'll find out later, I guess.
Well, I'll put the clip in if he does land it.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with the first one. Favorite grab? Easy.
Snowboard or wakeboard?
Both. Of course we're going both.
Wakeboard, probably a tail grab.
Okay.
Snowboard. If I'm hitting a big jump, I'm probably running a Japan or on a hip. Like if I'm hitting a hip, I'm probably running
Just
a
straight up?
Japan. Yeah.
Okay. What about in a spin?
Is that front hand? Is Japan front hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. In a spin, I'm probably doing Indy classic.
Okay. Interesting.
Easiest one.
I love an Indy on a snowboard. It feels good.
Yeah, like an Indy poke, especially. But I do a lot of back one Japans. That's like my go-to on a jump.
Yeah.
Like if it's like first run to test the speed, I'll do a back one Japan.
It's a good trick.
Yeah.
I like a mute. I feel like the mute gets a little underrated. Just a straight up mute. Maybe it doesn't look good, but it feels good.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
On a snowboard, bro. What are you talking about? You don't like
Front
a mute?
hand on the toes? Just straight, like you front
You
shifty?
tweak it, like.
Yeah.
All right, what?
But that's what a Japan is, a tweaked mute.
Well, yeah, I guess, but it's like not fully tweaked like that.
Yeah,
but,
okay. Yeah.
All right, I could never do the Japan. All right, so I want to open it up with a clip, which I will insert now. But the first clip in Nature of Offense. First clip in the entire movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Is that the DFD?
No. Well, the concrete one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you thinking there, bud?
Yeah, that was not a good. That was funny one. We were on a trip. That was probably a week into the trip, and heavy drought. Like we had maybe gone 3 or 4 days, no clips, and so we're driving around. We keep pulling up to spots that aren't working, or we're getting kicked out, or they're just not that sick, and then we pulled up to that one. We walked past, everyone kind of looked at it, and we were like, yeah, that's not a spot. I think I found it on Google Maps, and so we went and scoped it.
Yeah.
And we walked past it, and there was a sea rail like 50 yards away or something. So we just walked past the DFD, go scope the sea rail. Sea rail definitely isn't worth it. And everyone walks back to the car. I go back to the DFD because I was fiending to hit something.
It's been a week and nothing's been happening.
Yeah, and it was towards the end of the year too, and I think we were looking for an ender, and so I was like, I either land the clip or I get bodied, and that's a clip either way. And I looked at it for probably 20 minutes by myself, standing over there contemplating if it was worth it, and it definitely wasn't looking back at it, but yeah, we gave it a go and got worked.
Was that just a one go?
No.
No.
I ran into it. So it's a DFD.
Yeah.
A metal DFD into a concrete ledge with a closeout that you would have had to jump over, which you can't see in the clip. On the left side, it's a concrete bank with boulders in the concrete. So
So there's more to this.
If you fell to the left side, like you were getting more cooked than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it would have been way worse if I went over the rail. But I ran into it probably 20 or 30 times.
You did that 20 or 30 times?
No. Like I'd ride up the kicker and then I'd let go
Okay.
and not hit it. And I was just trying to get myself to hit it. And then I kind of jump on one and fall off early, slide down the stairs. Wasn't too bad. And then the next try was the one where I just got cooked. And it was not worth it at all. And I don't even think the clip was that gnarly looking.
I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of concrete. You weren't going that fast, but like, how far was the drop to the water from the end? Because it looked like it was a decent drop.
Probably like 10
So
feet.
even if you make it to the end, it's not like a guaranteed like.
Yeah, and the water maybe middle of the shin deep. So it's like if you catch on the closeout, you're flying, and it's just boulders in the water or just big rocks.
Yeah.
So if you catch the closeout and like fly to you're probably breaking your back or something if you fell in that water.
Yeah. And how far was the ride out? You wouldn't even be able to ride out that far because it was a river, right?
Yeah, the river was only like 20 feet across. I would have landed and instantly gone onto the ground. Yeah, it was a stupid. Looking back at it, it was a stupid idea, but we gave it a shot.
It's a great way to open a video. Like it gets your attention, no doubt. So that's okay. I was always wondering about that one because it was heavy for sure. Is Hannah Menega your sister?
No, but basically.
How many people have thought she was your sister?
A lot. Yeah, she's basically a big sister to me now.
Okay. I think we could dive into a guest question from Hannah Menega right now since we're talking about her.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, she's a wakeboarder. She's been in a lot of the ZMT projects, and she also had dreads at the same time that Gibby had dreads. So,
we did everything together.
Yeah, together all the time for sure.
Yeah.
What's up, Gibby? A few years ago, we both spent some time living in North Carolina. So I want to know what some of your favorite memories are from your time at Elevated.
Short and sweet from Hannah there. So what do you got?
Favorite memories.
Before we get into how you got wakeboarding, let's talk about Elevated a little bit because you spent some time there with Hannah.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to miss out, or I'm definitely going to miss a few stories.
No, of course.
But what comes to mind? I don't know. We were grinding while we were there. We were constantly filming something or going out and hitting something. But favorite memories.
I mean, when did you get there? Like COVID times? A little after COVID times?
Yeah, a little after COVID. The first time we went was when we filmed that little video. You and Dylan made that ZMT video to the Kendrick Lamar song.
Yeah, what's the name of that video? I don't even remember. It was X by Kendrick Lamar, right? Was the song?
Yeah, it was like
Testing Elevated.
That's Testing Elevated. Yeah. That was the first time
fun.
I went.
Yeah, that was
fun. That was like 2021 maybe.
Yeah.
Before the park was open and the pool gap was super unfinished. Like that was the fall before the park opened.
Yeah.
And then I went there the following summer and stayed that summer.
The whole summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not the whole summer. I think we went at the beginning of July and stayed till probably the end of September.
Okay, that's a long time though.
Yeah. But best memory, probably when all the action fools would come and it would get rowdy, but not like too rowdy. We did a lot of like Ghost in the Graveyard.
What's that? Explain what Ghost in the Graveyard is.
It's like we might have been playing it wrong, but usually it's at night when it's super dark and everyone goes and hides. And then one person is seeking until someone gets found. And then they yell Ghost in the Graveyard. And then everyone has to, like, at the time, you'd run back to the camper.
Yeah.
But we were, Wes Huber was the one seeking. And me and I think Logan were hiding in the semi-truck trailer there that had a bunch of hay in it. And we hear Wes coming up, and I start playing, like, crying baby noises from inside the semi-truck. And I just remember super quiet, so it was super subtle. And Wes, like, kind of looked in the trailer, but we were too far back. You would have had to climb in to find us.
Yeah.
And so he, like, pokes his head in, and I start playing these screaming baby noises, whatever. And he just starts freaking out, like gasping and got super scared and then ran away. And we're, like, crying, laughing inside this semi-truck.
That's a good one, dude.
Fun.
That's a good one. A lot of shenanigans, it sounds like. With
especially with Ethan and Jake. We were always doing a lot. We did a lot of stuff with white gas while we were there too.
What was that?
Flammable liquid.
And what were you doing with it?
Well, we had this fire pit outside of the camper, and we would we'd dump a lot of it on the fire, but then we'd make a big path. That's probably like 15, 20 feet long, and then light it from the end of the path, and then it would like...
Watch it go.
Yeah, it'd be like a giant fireball. I have a bunch of videos I'll send you.
Okay, I'll put one in.
It's funny.
All right, so you grew up snowboarding, right? So I think let's kind of touch on first time snowboarding and like getting into it as a kid? Because that came way before wakeboarding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started, my parents started me off skiing
Classic.
when I was maybe 5 or 6, I think. And skied for a few years. And then my middle brother, Braden, started snowboarding before me. But he was always who I looked up to him. He was always the cooler, Peyton's cool. But Braden was always the cool brother. And I always wanted to be like him and his friends. So I think when I was like 7 or 8, I jumped on a snowboard for the first time. And we originally learned at the sledding hill right down the road from our house. So I would have one of those kick-in snowboards, and that's where I learned to snow. And I did that while I was skiing. So I would go ski at the resort and then go home and use the little kick-in
The plastic kick-in snowboard.
Yeah. And that's originally, and then I got a real snowboard, learned how to ride. But I didn't start riding park till I was probably like 12 or 13.
So you're just lapping at Cannonsburg for a couple years?
No, we mostly would just go up to Cabernet.
Really?
If you bought something from this place called Bill and Paul's, they'd give you a free Cabernet pass if you were under 12 or something.
Yeah.
Like if you're a little kid.
Yeah.
So we would get Cabernet passes and go up there a couple weekends a winter.
Sick. But
So I
not
wasn't
that
riding
much, yeah.
Yeah. And then I started going to Cannonsburg a lot more when I was probably like 12 or 13.
Okay. And that's when you got into park.
Yeah.
Okay. So then when does wakeboarding come in the picture? Because you got started pretty young wakeboarding too, when Action opened.
Yeah, I think I was 13.
So how'd you hear about
So
the cable?
right after. My friend Koji, I think he just randomly brought it up one time. I think originally Koji had seen Hannah's Instagram of her riding there, and we were super into snowboard. We weren't good at snowboarding at the time, but
You
we
just
were
loved it,
super
though.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd go ride, hit all the boxes and whatnot. I don't think we were hitting rails at the time yet, but then we'd go to Cannonsburg. Other than that, middle of the summer, I think it was in like July, we went for the first time. Hannah was actually there, and I had no clue who Hannah was, but Koji did, and Koji said what up to Hannah, and then I think she kind of helped us learn how to get on the water and hit the ground box and whatnot, and then we were hooked.
And you never wakeboarded before or been on a boat or anything like that? Or like rode behind a boat or
Yeah,
anything?
never. Oh, actually, I think I'd like maybe had a boat board. All right. You're going to think this is funny, but way back in the day, I was on a show ski team.
No, you were not.
When I was
dude.
like way young. I think I did it for like a summer or two maybe, but I think the second summer was when I started wakeboarding, and I was like, I'm not doing this no more. Like, water skiing's stupid.
I had no idea you were on a show ski team.
Yeah, I thought someone was gonna ask about that.
No, that's buried deep.
That's crazy.
You uncovered that one for a
Yeah.
lot of people.
I didn't. Yeah.
So what were your first impressions? You said you were hooked, but I mean, you were a freaking little kid. But like, what were your first impressions the first like year, I guess, of wakeboarding compared to snowboarding?
I think it was just way easier to progress in, which got me hooked. Because I went for the first time, and I was probably hitting, like, all the small features at the park. So maybe, like, the small kicker, the flat bar, the ground box. And then probably by the second or third time, we were hitting, like, all the features.
Yeah, everything.
Which at Cannonsburg, I would go hit the box or the ride on rails. So it wasn't – it's fun, but – wakeboarding is every day you'd learn something new or hit something new.
Easy, yeah.
Or do a new transfer, which was super appealing. And by the end of that, I started mid-July, and by the end of the summer, we were doing like flips and 270s and like landing blind
Yeah.
and whatnot.
And hitting every feature in the park
And
and
hitting
like
all the features.
coming away from a day of wakeboarding being like, I literally learned like 6 new tricks.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like
And
you
that's
never do that in snowboarding.
And we would go, my parents would drop me off when the park opened and pick me up when they closed. So
Damn.
I'd go all day, every day.
You're getting your money's worth out of that season pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much do you think wakeboarding helps snowboarding? Because you literally grew up at like basically doing both for how many years in a row? Like you would do winter snowboarding, summer wakeboarding for
The past 7 years.
yeah 6-7 years. So like
I didn't wakeboard last year, but
yeah,
that's because of an injury.
we'll talk about that later.
But a lot. I only got good at snowboarding because of wakeboarding.
Yeah.
I think if I didn't wakeboard, I still would have gotten better at snowboarding, but nowhere near the board control I have now.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what specifically, like, do you feel like confidence on boards, like balance, learning the tricks, the muscle memory, like all of it, or what jumps out?
Yeah, I think all of it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me was air awareness, because I never was into trampolines or anything, so I never learned how to do flips. So on a snowboard, it was like,
totally
there's
foreign.
no way I'm doing a flip because I can't flip on anything else. But wakeboarding flips are super easy.
Yeah.
It's like the easiest thing on the kicker. So I learned like half cab rolls and scarecrows. And actually my first summer, I learned like back mobs on the wakeboard, like early handle pass back mobs, like the ugliest thing you've ever seen. And I was
but it's a mob still, like, flip with a spin. Like,
but just learning how to control yourself in the air.
And being aware of when the
spotting
landing's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that next winter, like I went from the previous winter before wakeboarding, I was hitting like ride on rails and boxes, maybe like board sliding a box, but that was about it. To like the next winter after wakeboarding, by the end of I was doing like back fives and like cab 1 back fives on rails, like cab 2 450s. Like,
damn,
it like progressed. Like I think wakeboarding's the biggest help you could do to your snowboarding.
Okay, I was gonna ask, because like a lot of kids who are well off and have a lot of money and they're pursuing the snowboard thing, they go, spend all winter wherever, Utah, Colorado, doesn't matter, California, and then summer they'll go to Hood or they'll go like to Australia or whatever. They'll go to a place they can snowboard year round almost. Do you think that would have been more beneficial to you, or doing the wakeboarding thing?
I think,
or a mix of
I
both?
think that would have been, it wasn't an option for us, but that probably would have been more beneficial. But I also would be worried that I would have gotten burnt out.
Yeah.
And then not have been as excited going into the following year. Like it was always nice. Like I never wanted snowboarding to end, but I at least would be excited for wakeboarding to come up.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was just as hyped on both.
Yeah.
Like I was just as hyped on wakeboarding as I was snowboarding.
Well, and I think the thing that wakeboarding does give you is like you can do tricks that you basically could never imagine on a snowboard, on a wakeboard. And so you get used to like you can front board pretz 4, like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
So it makes like, okay, I can front board pretz 2 on a snowboard then. Like if I can do 4 on a wakeboard, like I have these muscle memories. So it's just interesting and opens up this like different line of thinking, I think, with creativity and stuff too, which is interesting. But yeah, it's the thing is like year-round snowboarding is a ridiculously expensive thing to try and do if you're a kid. So having the cable is definitely the next best thing. I couldn't imagine anything that would be like better than cable wakeboarding besides snowboarding year-round.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's skateboarding, super fun, and you probably do get more board control, but it's nowhere near as similar as wakeboarding is to snowboarding.
Yeah, and you're not really going to get broke off wakeboarding for the most part. Like,
yeah.
You can, but
yeah,
skateboarding, you twist an ankle.
And at the time, it was like I was never doing anything where I would get broke off.
Yeah.
Like you'd maybe get whiplash and hit your head, but that's the worst that's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So you're riding Ronex boards for a while there in your wakeboard career, I guess you could say. You got second at Worlds, right, one year? Am I right there? First. Oh, you got first. Come with the king, you best not miss. All right, so you're a world champion wakeboarder.
Technically.
No, there's no you are a world champion wakeboarder.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So you're riding Ronex boards for a while there, and that seems like kind of what you started on. And then you switched like a couple years ago. I mean, you were never getting paid by anybody, but did you have a conversation with Ruck when you were like getting a little bit more serious about wakeboarding, probably in like the ZMT era, about if there's a spot or will there be a spot for you on Ronex in terms of like taking the next step?
Yeah, that was the exact conversation. I basically, going into one of the wakeboard years, I think it was 2 years ago, I just kind of talked to him about if there was any room for like a travel budget or compensation to travel to like yard sale or whatever.
Something more than gear.
Yeah. And at the time, which I love all those dudes, Ruck was the sickest dude ever. Like always hooked it up and was the nicest. But Adam was pretty down to like pay for my gas to go to yard sale or take me to Canada with him for the events and whatnot. And that was just more appealing at the time because it's so easy with Adam living.
Adam Sinclair is like the Slingshot rep in I think North America or whatever, for those who don't know.
But he lives like 20 minutes away. So any demo Like when he'd go to West Rock, he'd hit me up and bring me. And all these opportunities that weren't there with Ronix, which I didn't see myself. I mean, obviously at the time I really wanted to go pro, and now I'm more focused on snowboarding. But at that point, I was more just like, what's going to make it easier to keep snowboarding or to keep wakeboarding.
Yeah.
For the time being.
Yeah. And did Ruck put it like pretty point blank of like, you're pretty much only going to be getting gear and like, that's all we can do?
Yeah, he was honest, but super nice.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah. No, that's like super respectable to say that because a lot of people will dance around the topic.
Yeah. And I'd way rather have him be like, yeah, we can't help you than like give me some vague answer.
Yeah. Like, well, maybe
for more than what they'll actually be able to give me.
Yeah. String you along and stuff. Okay. That's interesting. I was just curious on that. I think it's time we dive into an early LF'n Wheel of Questions presented by Liquid Force.
The LF'n Wheel of Questions.
Okay, let's go.
So go ahead and grab that down, Gibby. Liquid Force likes to make wakeboarding fun, so let's make this podcast a little bit more fun. Spin the LF'n Wheel of Questions.
All right.
So we got some custom stuff on here. Oh, he's going to do a quick spin. He's jumping right into it.
Oh, you can talk.
No, dive right in, dude.
Okay.
You're ready to go. Let's do it. That's a good spin. All right. This says, pick 3 snowboarders you'd like to see wakeboard.
Ooh.
And I mean, like,
Any snowboarders?
in a perfect world, you'd be like, okay, they were like good at wakeboarding. I'd like to see them wakeboard. You know what I mean? Not like pick up a wakeboard for the first time and see them faceplant off the dock. You know what I mean?
If I could see him be good.
Yeah, be good at wakeboarding.
Oh, I'd love to watch Jesse Jarrett wakeboard again. That would be dope.
Okay, that's one.
Jesse Jarrett. I hung out with Sam and talked to him a bunch this winter about wakeboarding, so it'd be dope.
Sam Klein.
Sam Anderson.
Sam Anderson.
We talked about it a bunch, and he wants to go to West Rock. He's talked about going.
Dude,
he's definitely going to go
He would
to
be
West Rock.
so good on a wakeboard. It'd be
Yeah.
insane.
And it'd just be fun.
Oh, dude, I feel like he'd have so much fun. All right, that's a good one too. What do you got 3?
And I feel
Another
like I should-
Anderson, Jed.
that was maybe going to be my answer, but he's probably too cool.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, this is a perfect world though.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to see Jed wakeboard.
It might ruin
Actually.
the snowboarding for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so goated.
Yeah.
Third. Yo, let's do Sean White. Come on.
I love it. Dude, he'd fit right in with the stance.
Yeah, he would.
Just slam that shit
Yeah.
out, bro. That's a good list. Jesse Jarrett, Sam Anderson, Sean White.
Yeah.
Pulling up to the cable.
That would get people hyped on wakeboarding. That would get more people in the sport. That's probably the best one.
Yeah. Sean White.
Yeah.
Bring him into the Wake League, dude. Snow League, Wake League. Little 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's flip it. Let's do 3 wakeboarders you'd like to see snowboard.
That don't already snowboard.
Yeah, not like a Samy or like a Yannick,
I'm going to
or
go
Liam, you know.
Mossy. I know he snowboards, but I've never
Just to
seen him
see- just see
snowboard.
it, yeah.
I'll do Mossy. Ethan Weaver. I've been trying to get that fool to come
Has
up
he-
and snowboard.
He's done it like a couple times, right? He had to have
think
gone to
so,
beach or something.
But for the past 4 or 5 years, I've tried to get him to come up, and he doesn't.
Come on, Ethan. What are you doing, bro?
And
Tough one. A lot of names.
that is a tough one. Trying to think of like who would be the sickest, who has the best snowboard mentality.
I don't know.
Maybe. He snowboards though.
You're going to say Finn?
I was gonna say Felix.
Oh, Felix. Yeah, Felix does actually snowboard too.
Can I not have that? Can I do a wake skater?
Yeah, do a wake skater.
Now
Now you're blanking.
No, I'm not.
I'm not blanking.
Maxime.
Geary?
Geary.
Okay.
Geary.
Yeah.
However you say it.
I don't know
Yeah.
how you say it, but yeah. That's another solid list. Get a squad of
He's
6
got
out.
the core mentality for it.
Yeah,
So he'd be good.
definitely.
Yeah.
You think he'd snow skate instead?
I-
Little ambition vibes.
Maybe. Actually, that could be cool.
Yeah, like that kind of snow skating. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We got a LF'n wild card from the group at the crew at Liquid Force, and they're wondering, growing up mainly riding cable, what do you think about boat riding in general, and would you have liked to do more of it if it was more accessible as a kid?
Yeah, I haven't thought about it too much because a boat was kind of out of the picture as a kid. But it's fun. Whenever I have the opportunity to go ride a boat, it's definitely fun.
You said you rode a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we were doing some basic tricks. But I rode a boat. Well, I rode like a speedboat like a long time ago before I rode cable.
Yeah.
But the first time actually riding boat was with John Kevin down in North Carolina. It was
J.K. Mullins on Instagram.
Yeah. It was one of Brantley's birthdays one year. I like blew my eardrum out like
There you go.
the third day doing it. But it was fun. I like learned roll the blinds and like scarecrows.
Yeah.
All like the basic stuff.
I
But
don't know if rolled blind's basic, but yeah.
but in all aspects.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty basic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. I was just, okay. It's fun, though, yeah?
But it's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
If I had a boat, I would do it all the time if I had the money for it.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Also, you can go ahead and put that back. Thank you to Liquid Force for that. Brostock is back, happening June 27th and 28th at Lake Lanier Olympic Park in Georgia. If you're in America, you're not there, you're blowing it. But there will be a live stream on the main event day, so make sure to tune into that if you're not there. Let's talk some videos, some wakeboard videos, bud, because you've got a few, and I think kind of it kicked off with P2. You had some clips and tape, but they were park clips, and you ollied over a cone. We don't really need to talk about that. So, how was your experience? I mean, filming for P2. Like, why were you involved? Why did you decide to go winching? What was it like working with this crew? I mean, touch on that.
Well, the original crew was from Action, pretty much, for the most part. Like you, Dylan, Charlie, Hannah.
Charlie
Matt.
came up with the name, yeah.
Yeah. But, so I always looked up to you guys because you were the good people at the park at the time. And the second year filming for P2, Dylan had come to Michigan to film some clips and hit us up to go ride. And I got like 2 or 3 clips with them in Grand Rapids. And just kind of, I was nervous to ask Dylan if I could film more for it. And the conversation ended up coming up, and he was super down to have me like come down to North Carolina and film more. Like he seemed like he was hyped if I got a full part.
Yeah.
So then I was juiced at the time. And that was the summer we ended up going to Elevated for the first time, me and Hannah.
So perfect timing.
Yeah, so we moved down there, filmed a bunch there, went to Florida a little bit and filmed. Ended up getting a part in P2.
Not the what? What were you going to say?
Not the sickest, but
I was going to say,
cool.
how do you feel about it? Like, what after it came out, like, how'd you feel about it initially, and then now looking back, how do you feel about it?
Initially, I mean, I'm hyped, but it is hard, which I think a lot of people struggle with not being hyped after the footage is out. Like I deal with this snowboarding and everything. Like, it'll be super sick all winter, but then you sit on it all summer and you watch it in the fall, and then you're not as excited. But it was cool. Super sick opportunity, and it led into a bunch of other opportunities that were super dope.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you think kicker tricks are different than part clips and can be included in a full part?
If I were to film a wakeboarding part right now,
Yeah.
I would not put any kicker tricks in it.
Okay.
If that answers the question.
Yeah, I wanted your opinion. So,
I don't know. I think if you're filming a full part, you shouldn't put any part clips in it.
would you say that you would, if you wanted to fill the role of like jump style tricks, you would instead then just go film boat clips for that part?
No.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
So you wouldn't put any jump style tricks in
No.
a part?
No.
All right.
Unless you find like a natty jump.
Fair. Curious.
Like going up a spillway or something. But
Yeah.
that's also not my vibe. I'm not maybe a little hypocritical because now I hit the jump a lot. But I feel like I'm not that big.
But he's trying cab 10s the other day, and not jump guy though.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm like way, especially when I was super in the wakeboarding
Yeah.
space, I was much more of a rail guy.
Yeah. It's classic Midwest. I mean, that's the vibe for sure.
Well, we just don't have jumps.
Yeah.
Well, we have a large kicker.
Well, snowboarding, you don't have like good jumps in the Midwest for the most part. Like
Yeah.
it's not really found, and
Yeah.
then it just wasn't the vibe at Action.
Yeah.
And so
Which I definitely loved hitting kickers, but I just now, with the mentality I have, I wouldn't put kickers in a winch part.
Yeah.
Or a full part. I
yeah,
guess.
that's fair. Can a full part have part clips?
I wouldn't.
In any aspect, snowboarding, wakeboarding, can it have park clips?
In snowboarding, definitely not. In wakeboarding, I feel like it's okay. Like, I don't think it's okay, but the wakeboarding culture thinks it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I think wakeboarding has a much different view on a video part than a snowboarding.
We will get into that when we
Yeah.
talk wakeboarding versus snowboarding, which we're going to dive into a lot for sure later. But I think we break it up before we talk about nature of offense. I think we do a little segment, core or not core.
Okay.
You ready for this
I
one,
like
bud?
Have you done this before?
I have not done this
Oh,
before. This
okay,
is
this is a good one.
First time ever. So
I'm
I've got a
excited.
list of a bunch of things, and you're going to tell me if it's core or not core, and you can elaborate if you want, or we can move on to the next one. First one, sharing your own post to your own story. Core or not core?
Not core, but I used to do it when I was young.
Do you still do it?
I don't still do it.
Okay. If somebody shares your post and tags you, will you repost that to your story?
Definitely not. That's even worse.
Okay. Putting 3-time world champ in your bio. Core or not core?
Not core.
SIGs in a full part, but subtly. Core or not core?
Core.
Okay. Not having women on the Pro Wakeboard Tour. Core or not core?
Not core. But I don't think that's I think that's just like a thing they should do. I don't think it would make them core if they had girls in it.
Correct. I just want to say that. Posting on TikTok. Core or not core?
If you're trying to be like an influencer, I guess definitely not core at all.
Okay.
But you can have fun with it.
But then if you're having fun with it, could it be core? If you don't take it seriously.
No,
It's just no matter what, it's not core.
not core, but it's fun.
I agree. Using a song that's ABD.
Oh, not core.
Replying to DMs.
You should just do it. It doesn't make you core
Okay.
or not core. You should just do it.
I like that answer. That's a great answer. Posting on Instagram with no captions. Core or not core?
I just can't think of a caption. Bro. What's the point of putting a cap? Dude, no one reads the captions anyway.
I don't disagree, but I would say no captions is core. If you're gonna put it black and white.
Well, it sounds.
Think of the most
it
core
sounds
guys.
corny when you say it like that.
Yeah,
though.
it's supposed to sound corny, dude. It's a core or not core section. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess you're core, but
Alright.
I don't
I'm-
put a caption to be more core.
Sure, bud. Sure.
All right.
All right. Commenting only emojis on somebody else's post.
I feel like these aren't good questions for this topic.
Well, I'm running out. We're at the bottom now. This is the last one.
In the middle, I don't know.
Commenting only emojis. I think that's just annoying.
I definitely
You're not-
I comment emojis on people's posts.
Core is taking
I
a tank
guess,
right
yeah.
now, bud.
I guess not core.
I mean, that was all I had. Last one wasn't great, but some sus ones in there in the
Yeah.
middle. All right, let's talk about nature of offense. So this was after P2, ZMT crew. What is the best thing? Actually, before we even talk about the movie itself, what was like your mindset after P2 and then going into nature of offense? Because Dylan did most of the filming and editing for P2, or
All
probably
of
all of it.
Yeah.
And then nature of offense was next. Was Dylan like kind of burnt out and didn't want to do a project, but you did and Hannah did, or like what was that vibe?
Yeah, at the time he was definitely burnt out, and I think he went to the Outer Banks that summer, if I'm correct. I might be wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong. But yeah, we were still living at Elevated, still super passionate about filming and riding and winching. So it was a no-brainer, I guess, to film another video, which it definitely wasn't at Dylan. Dylan ran the show good when he was doing it. Like, he was the head kind of producer of it all, like figuring out where we should go. Like,
He was cracking the whip.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was good at it. And so it was definitely a little loose filming for Nature of Offense. But we got it done. We didn't take as many trips, but we're going winching probably every weekend in the summer. And we would do day trips here and there. And yeah, the whole, like, Jake was super down. I don't think Ethan was as down, but he got a few clips.
Yeah.
And when we were back in Michigan, we were definitely filming pretty tough.
Okay. So this was a you and Hannah like kind of spearheaded this thing, or mostly
Yeah.
you, or
Definitely me and Hannah. And I think it was like a group effort for actually filming for the video, but then I edited it, and Hannah kind of like dealt with the budget and whatnot.
Okay, let's talk about budget. Like, what is it? What does that mean?
Like we had a separate bank account with all the ZMT money. Like Dylan did it originally, but then it like went over to us.
So this is an interesting thing that I think a lot of people didn't know. So like I think from tape we had some money left over that then went into P2, I think.
Yeah.
And Dylan had the account. And then from P2 they sold like mags and shirts and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And that money then went into the next.
Correct.
We're not talking about a lot here. We're talking about
No, like
hundreds of dollars maybe.
Yeah.
But like it helped.
It might have broken $1,000, but not by much.
Yeah. But
Like
it definitely helps. It's
yeah,
better
helps.
than nothing.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, with gas money and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the issue we were having was we'd always ask for the money after the video is done, which is pointless.
Yeah.
Like you need the money while you're filming.
You need money up front. And that way you can also like give them the content or include their stuff in the video. Like
Yeah.
afterwards. It's
Which is where I also think there's an issue in wakeboarding with budgets and what. Like I don't think companies are, which now might be a little different, but definitely at the time, like no one really seemed very interested in. Like Quint would hook us up with like cheaper shirts and like all the shirts
like
we had
custom
printed.
ZMT shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Jeff would give us a little bit of money, but it wasn't like anyone like really wanted, like they weren't reaching out to us.
And they like weren't fully
To
on
fund
board.
it.
It was like
Yeah, it was like, here's $500
Yeah.
or whatever, which is helpful. But in the grand scheme of things, $500 is nothing.
it's literally nothing. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we had a little bit of budget, which I think we would mostly spend money out of our pocket while filming for the videos
And leave that.
and kind of leave it. And
Yeah.
then we'd use it to buy the mags and the t-shirts, which I think that was pretty much it. There's probably still money in that account.
There might be, but mags are
Okay.
pretty expensive.
But
too.
yeah, and we'd sell them and use that money for the following
Yeah.
summer.
Okay.
I got kind of off track.
No, that was perfect. I was just wondering like how the money continued to transfer. I think it's a unique like idea because the group of ZMT is made up of like 10 plus people if you counted
Yeah.
everybody that was in it. But like the people doing these certain projects was like different each time.
Which we were definitely bumming it out when we were filming those videos.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Like Morgan would let us stay at Elevated for free and use his winch, which super grateful for Morgan. He's one of the only reasons that those videos actually happened.
Yeah. If you list a few people, he's like very at the top of.
Yeah, he's probably at the top.
Yeah, he probably is at the very top because how many clips were filmed on his Grinch winch?
All of them.
Yeah.
Until Wes got the moto winch, which it would be 50-50.
Yeah.
Usually on using the moto winch or the Grinch winch.
Yeah. So shout out Morgan.
Yeah.
Huge shout out.
Huge.
What's the best thing you saw go down in this movie? Like in person?
In Nature of Offense?
Yeah.
Probably Jake's board slide on the DFD.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good story about that.
I was gonna ask, so run it.
Yeah. Yeah, we same trip as that other DFD with the closeout.
Just a DFD trip.
A DFD trip. We're back at home in Michigan on the east side. And I think Dylan found that pin and we pulled up trying to figure out if it was actually doable and how we would set it up. Because there wasn't really an obvious spot to put the winch or the cable, and super short dry start, kind of janky rail that curved with a bunch of stuff in the water. Like not an ideal spot,
Not
but
a big run
super
out.
dope.
Yeah.
And yeah, small run out. And we pull up and we're contemplating on if it's worth it. And I was still in the same mentality of like, we need an ender. And so I originally tried it first, and I tried to front board it for like a few hours.
Because you're goofy, Jake is regular, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think no one was really wanting to hit it. And so I was just like, we need an ender.
We're here.
So
This thing is
someone's got to hit
insane.
it. Yeah. And so I start trying the front board. Maybe after an hour, it starts clicking, and I'm getting through the flat. Never got like super close, but I definitely got to the last down. Probably like halfway through the last down, and would just fall off to the inside. Then end up falling off weird, and not even falling. I kind of just slide down the grass hill on my butt, but I put my hand down, and a stick or something nicks my hand and just slices it open, like super deep, hurt like super bad, and couldn't grab onto the winch handle anymore. I was super bummed because I was like a few hours deep, and
Now you gotta walk away.
would have been like the clip I would have been most hyped on.
Yeah.
I still want to do it someday. But yeah, we go clean up my hand. I think we just like super glued it shut. It wasn't huge, but it was more than enough to like, so I couldn't wakeboard anymore. Yeah. And then I think after Jake seeing me do it a few times where it's like, oh, this is definitely possible, he was super down to try board slide afterwards. So we fixed up my hand or whatever. Then after we got done, Jake started running it up.
You're gone.
It probably took him a couple hours, but
yeah. Were you hyped or bummed when you got it initially?
I was a little bummed at the very beginning. I was like, dang. But in my head, I was like, I'll just come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then when Jake got it, I was super hyped. Well, I was super hyped someone did it.
Yeah.
Because we needed an ender. But I was bummed that I wasn't also doing it. And then the next day, we were planning on going back. I think we stayed at Dylan's relative's house. Yeah. And I woke up, and my palm is just like, looks like half of a baseball's in it. Like, it was super swollen. It got way worse overnight. Yeah. And there was just no chance I was going back.
You're not holding on to a handle with that thing.
But it was sick. We got the ender.
What do you think, like, how important is an ender trick? Like a true,
the most
jaw-dropping ender.
The most important. That's what makes me rewatch a video.
Okay.
At least the ender part. Like,
yeah.
Like, if I think of my favorite videos, think of the ender part for sure. Like, I think the full part is more important than just the ender clip.
Just one clip.
Because I think you can have just a satisfying, like, I don't think your ender needs to be like the hardest trick ever. But the whole section has to be like memorable enough for you to like want to go watch it again.
Yeah. That's fair. I agree with that.
Like, I think there's plenty of videos where if you took out the ender part, I wouldn't rewatch them as much as with the ender part in it.
It's like a nice bow. Like to tie the whole movie up. It's like,
yeah, like we were talking about it earlier, but Jed's part in Rated R, I probably watched it 50 times. Like, still, like, that video came out 2 years ago. While I'm eating lunch at work, that's what I turn on. If I'm like trying, especially this past winter, when we were on trips filming, and I was trying to get motivated, I'd turn on Jed's part in Rated R.
I was exactly what you just said, trying to get motivated. That's how you know, like, it's a really good part. Because, like, if it makes you want to go actually do the activity, like go snowboard or go wakeboard, that is a fucking good part.
I also think it's very important to not post it.
What do you mean?
On Instagram. Like, don't post the ender.
Ever. What do you have to say about this day and age where somebody else is going to post it? It's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's a bummer. Definitely. Like, I think that's what happened with that board slide. Like, right when the video came out, someone posted the ender, and then it kind of ruins it.
It definitely does.
Because you get so used, like, I don't know what the word is.
You're disrespecting the build up to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this effort that this crew's like put in, and then you're just like, well, that's the best part right there. So
and now you can just watch it 100 times on Instagram, and then you're desensitized to it.
Yeah. So
then you're like, you don't need to go watch that video again to watch that clip.
Yeah, true. I guess that's a bigger problem, though. That's not that's an internet, social media problem.
Yeah. I guess just if, as a rider, like, I don't think you
it's like a mutual respect thing, though. Like, if some, like, Chive TV posted, it's like, well, fuck, whatever. Like, that's fine. But if, like, somebody that's, like, a rider in the industry is like, I'm just going to, like, clip that, rip it, and post it. It's like, damn, dude. Yeah. Like, that sucks, you know? I
think that's the one thing you should save, not for your Instagram.
Yeah. End of it. Yeah. I wish. In a perfect world, yeah. All right. So, in Nature of Offense, there were very, very few repeated spots in the movie. I can think of a handful. But it's also much shorter of a project than most, especially P2 or tape that came before it. So why did you decide to go this route?
Yeah, I think going into that summer, kind of realizing I didn't have control of the video, but I had more influence on how it was going to turn out. since I was editing it. And as a snowboarder, and like I'm majority, like if I'm watching a video, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be a snowboard video, and most of the times the other one is a surf video, like, which I also think is because there's not many videos in wakeboarding, at least in this day.
Yeah, the volume is absolutely not there.
Yeah, so just having the influence majority off snowboarding at the time, which I think is even more now than it was before, is like short form, like mid-length videos.
Yeah, the like 8 to 16 or whatever.
Yeah, it's usually like 10 to 14 minutes, I think, is like the average. And in a snowboard video, it's the same thing. Like, you're not seeing someone hit a spot more than twice usually.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you'll have one person hit a spot twice and then another person hit it once, but you're not seeing that spot hit. Like, not everyone in the crew is going to go hit it.
Yeah.
So we were very diligent about not hitting spots too much because it just gets repetitive.
Well, it almost makes it easier to winch in a sense, because it's like we're going to this spot, Gibby's getting this trick, and then we're done. Like, we can pull everything out.
I think it makes you way more productive.
Yeah.
Like, if you, especially, which we were doing this a lot this winter, of being super, like, diligent.
Calculated.
Calculated. Of, we would write down all the spots we wanted to hit, which we didn't do this for nature of offense, but if I were to give someone advice on filming a video,
or if you were to do it again, yeah,
I think this is the most productive way. Is you write out all the spots you want to hit, like, per trip. So if you're in for wakeboarding, let's say Lexington, and you have 8 spots, you write down each spot and you figure out which spots are your highest priorities, and then you just decide what times are best for that. So I would have a spot that was a morning spot, and we'd go to that, and we'd know that only I was going to hit it, and I was going to get one trick, and then we'd move on. And
you already have that trick. So it's not like you go there and you're like, all right, I'm going to do like backboard same way. And then you do backboard same way in like 3rd or 4th try. It's like, well,
yeah,
I'm not going to try something else.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Like, you'll get to a spot, and sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm a cab to it. And then you get there and you're like, this is just a front board. Like, there's no way I'm cabbed. So
the other way around.
It happens, but it happens both ways.
Yeah.
So
you just got to feel that one out.
Yeah, which I feel like wakeboarding, just not enough people film to, like, understand that. Like, I think in wakeboarding you see a lot of people hitting the same spot multiple times.
Yeah. It is hard to hit spots for sure in wakeboarding, but
it's way less. There is way less spots in wakeboarding.
Yeah.
But it does kind of suck when you're watching a video and you see the same spot like 7 different times. Because then by the 4th or 5th, you're like, all right,
I've already seen it.
It's the same.
Yeah, half of like watching street of anything, skating, snowboarding, wakeboarding, it's like half of the cool part is seeing something you haven't seen before just hit. Like, it doesn't matter really what they did on it. It does, but you're just like, oh, that's a spot I've never seen before. Like, that's cool.
I think, like, right now with snowboarding, it's more about spot selection than it is what you're actually doing on the spot.
Yeah.
Which I think you can also take too far, where you're just doing
just 50s.
50-50s on everything, which I don't think you should be doing that. But I definitely will go to a down, like, if we roll up to a down bar, I'm not just going to be like, all right, I could back 2 pull and back 180 nose, like, whatever. Like, I'm going to, like, decide if, like, that's a spot I want in my part.
Yeah.
Like, if it's pleasing enough to keep someone entertained, but it's a down bar, or in wakeboarding, just a flat ledge, like, it's not very exciting.
Yeah.
Like, you can do a big trick on it, which maybe you put a couple of those in your part. Like, if you have a 15 clip part, you do 2 or 3 flat ledges tricks, but then you don't need any more flat ledges. Like, you should call it on a flat ledge, even if it's a different flat ledge.
Yeah.
Like, we're very calculated with that in snowboarding, where it's like, if we already have, for the whole video, if we already have 15 clips on a double kink, where even if we find a perfect double kink in a new city we're at, we're not going to go hit it.
Yeah.
Because we already have, you don't want to see 40 clips on a down flat down.
Every time a transition of video comes up between clips, like, you want to see something a little bit different, a little bit new. Like, if you see the same thing over and over. And I think what I'm hearing is, like, there's just a lot of thought and a lot of effort and calculation that's going into.
Yeah.
It's not just, let's roll up, hit the spot, go to the next one, roll up, hit the spot, go to the next one. It's like, no, trick selection, spot selection. Like it's a whole
What's actually
thing.
worth it?
Yeah, exactly. Because you could waste a lot of time on shit, and it was like, well, now we got all these clips. Do we have to use them? It's like, no, we shouldn't have got them in the first place. Looking back now, how do you feel about dry starts?
Epic. The sickest. I have that in my little notes of I'm definitely not gonna do it now. But for a while it was my goal to film a full dry pull part.
Yeah?
Just because I think everyone would hate me for it and it would be sick.
I don't think people would really care that much. You think? Maybe like
they probably wouldn't care at all. But there would be people that are like, this kid's wasting his time doing dry pulls.
Yeah, but if it's the whole thing is dry pulls, how can you not realize that that's just like
it'd be funny.
A funny thing.
And yeah, I like controversy.
Okay.
So I'm hoping people would be like, what is this kid doing?
That would be funny. What do you think, like, in actual, like, if you're making a wakeboard video, like, a couple dry pulls here or there, like, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to make a full length video or a mid length video, I think all videos should be under 20 minutes now.
I agree.
I'll say
Unless if it's the only thing that I would say is like a documentary, like Au Revoir, like, it's like a full movie. But yeah, if you're talking about like just trick porn, like yeah. You never heard that?
I never heard that.
Well, that's what we're doing. It's like just fucking tricks.
But yeah, if I'm watching a video, a few. Like if you got a 20 clip part,
I would say
like 5 dry pulls in there.
Yeah,
but they got to be. You can't just do like dry pull flat bar, dry pull flat bar, dry pull flat.
Dry pull down, dry pull down pad down, down flat down. Like that's
yeah. As long as it's all different.
Yeah, and I would say not enough where you're like after a few you're like, oh, another dry pull. That's when you probably know you have too many. Like or of any another flat bar, another down bar. Like
and there's no shame in cutting clips. I don't think like just because you got a clip on a spot does not mean you need to use it.
I'm gonna clip that. That's actually I want you to elaborate on this a little bit too.
I just think that's where wakeboarding is a little behind the snowboarding, which I'm not calling out wakeboarders or whatever, but there's just been so many more videos and people learning in snowboarding that I think they have it more dialed than wakeboarding does right now.
Yeah, it'll always be like that. It's a bigger industry with more people. Like it's gonna be more dialed, you know.
But yeah, I just think like in wakeboarding, I definitely used to do it. I wanted every clip I got to go in the video for sure. But there's definitely some that maybe should have been cut. And for nature of offense, we definitely probably used 80% of the clips we got.
Did you ever get any pushback when you were cutting stuff? Where it was like, whoa, why was that not in there?
Nah, I did kind of bad about communicating. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry.
So you just cut it without saying anything?
Probably.
And then the final project comes out?
It didn't fit, if I didn't think it fit, I wasn't going to put it in.
See, I think that like needs more. We need more of that. Of Definitely. Just like the dude who's making the video, like he's not asking your opinion on the rider. It's like, no, I have the vision, making the video. Like we all signed up to do this. That clip's out. Like,
and I feel like it's usually, at least for me, pretty obvious. On
if you're ever second guessing it, it's out.
Yeah,
that's exactly. The test. Like, so it is obvious.
And you can have fillers. Like, I'm not saying you got to cut all the bad clips, but yeah, if you have too many clips on the ledge or too many, you don't need them all.
Yeah, for sure. How many takes? Let's front lip in Holland, west side of Michigan. How many takes was this?
Too many. I don't even.
I guess I could count. I could pull up the.
Yeah, you would probably know better than I would. That was I was seeing red at that spot for a bit. It was annoying. It was bad. That was very beginning of the year too. I'm not even sure if I rode action before that.
Probably didn't. It was April. So.
But it took a lot because there was a lot of. I just wasn't satisfied with how long I was sliding.
Well, it's such a weird rail because it has like that little like elbow and then elbow, and so you have to get past that second elbow. Otherwise, it's like, why'd you hit the rail?
And I would fall off to the inside onto that concrete
every time, dude.
Too many times. Yeah, I don't. It was probably like 95.5 on if I was falling off to the inside or the outside. Like I never fell.
You're committed to it, no doubt about that.
And looking back, I don't even think the clip was that sick. But
I mean, if you went a little bit further, I think it's a cool spot.
Yeah,
it's like,
but I definitely should have gone farther.
Yeah, you could have gone.
But
like
that was
well
probably like 4 hours.
Yeah, you're in
maybe.
It. I think it's a good clip.
Looking back, 4 hours just isn't even that much.
Yeah.
After filming snowboarding this winter, like we've had plenty of battles way longer than 4 hours.
And I think that's also like another thing to realize is like you might battle for 4 hours and it's not a good enough clip.
Yeah.
Oh well. Like
Yeah, if you're like, I need to be, which is also a newer mentality for me. Like back then, I wasn't as strict as to what my riding was. Yeah. And now I need it to be absolutely perfect. Otherwise, I just, like, I'm going to go back.
Yeah, it's black and white.
And if it doesn't seem worth it to go back, then it probably wasn't worth it in the first place. Like, if you get a half decent one and you're going to take it, then it probably wasn't worth it.
Yeah. I would say this all falls under the category of if you're trying to be like a high level pro rider too. If you're just filming for fun, like do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Totally
if you're filming a homie video,
put all that shit
like
in.
put everything in.
Yeah, that's like
any video is cooler than no video. I should say that.
Damn, that's good.
But yeah, if you're one of like the bigger dogs doing it, definitely tighten up your grip a little bit.
All right, before we move on from ZMT, where do you think the ZMT crew falls in terms of people's perception of ZMT and wakeboarding? It's like, what do you think, the vibe? Where do you think it sits in wakeboarding? The crew, the videos.
I think they were cool. I don't think many people really cared that much about them, though.
I agree.
like what, it has like 4,000 views
Dude,
or
Nation
something?
Defense is like 9K, dude. For wakeboarding, that's decent.
Yeah, it's decent. But yeah, I just think the industry kind of doesn't care about winching that much.
All right, so I had a Instagram post.
At least then.
You think it cares more now?
Maybe a little. I think a little more. I think you see more, especially with the European dudes.
It's totally
They're
different
doing
over there.
it so good over there.
It's way different over there.
Like the dub crew, and like I always see Felix is always posting winching.
Dom,
Jules
like,
just posted that backflip the other day. He posted.
Sewer Cats 3 is like a full-on girls win.
Yeah,
Like it's street,
fire.
like crazy shit going down.
But yeah, I feel like I've seen several this year. Which when
It's
the
heating up,
ZMT
dude, for
videos
sure.
were coming out, it was like maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And we were one of those 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So.
And it wasn't some.
So
high-level
I
shit
think
for
it's
the most
getting
part.
more relevant.
Yeah, I think it's like growing for sure.
Yeah.
It's heating up. It's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I asked on an Instagram poll a while ago, unpopular wakeboard opinions, and you commented the industry majority couldn't care less about winching. So explain what you mean by that.
I said couldn't care less.
You said could care less, but I changed it because could care less doesn't make sense.
Oh, really?
It's couldn't care less. Yeah.
Oh.
I can cut that part out.
No, it's fine. I was homeschooled after 7th grade. So my grammar isn't the best. But
that's the one everybody gets that wrong though. Literally everybody gets that wrong.
yeah.
So you're good. What do you mean by that though?
Elaborate.
Yeah.
I just think budgets from companies are not going towards winching.
Yeah.
Which maybe, I don't know if they should be, but I think they don't care about it.
Yeah.
A majority. I think Dup cares. I think all the, like, I've seen a few videos from Dup, I feel like. And I know Slingshot's about to film video, but I think it's kind of late to the game. Like, I think they should have cared more earlier. I mean, look at Jake Flynn.
Yeah.
Like, he risks his life. Like, genuinely. Like, bro can get so worked on so many spots, and I'm sure he does get super
Broke his
worked.
kneecap, yeah.
And I don't think he's getting paid. Which I don't think
Do you
that's...
think he
I don't
like
think
that
that's-
sells boards though,
I don't think that's a company issue. I think it's an industry issue. Like, I think it's an all of wakeboarding issue.
Yeah.
Like, I think a majority of wakeboarders don't care about winching.
I would agree, and I think that's why that reflects as the brands are like, well, if the majority of wakeboarders don't care about this,
Yeah.
if we promote it, it's not going to sell any more boards for the most part.
But if you promoted it more, would it get more people?
That's the age-old question, right?
Like, I just feel like, look at skateboarding, snowboarding, and surfing. It's like, there's all, like, skateboarding especially, you're seeing a new video almost every day, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, Thrasher's posting something
You
almost
hit
every
refresh,
day.
you'll see something.
And snowboarding, you're probably getting 30 or 40 videos a fall or more.
Yeah.
Like, between all the small crews and whatnot. But big videos, I bet you there's probably 30 or 40. And surfing videos coming out all the time. So, obviously, there's a market for it. And I just don't think wakeboarding's advertised isn't the right word, but...
Promoted in the right way.
Yeah, promoted winching enough for people to really like understand it or get people wanting to do it, which I think it's changing a little bit now. But
I also don't necessarily think it's about getting people wanting to winch, because like winching's gnarly. You can get broke off. Like not the average wakeboarder is going to want to go and do that. Just like not the average snowboarder is not going to want to go hitting street spots, right?
Yeah.
It's a very select few, but the entertainment value of it is like so high.
Yeah.
Like your average snowboarder, I think, will watch like a street video and be like, yeah, I hit rails in my park. That's crazy. Hit this rail. Like,
Yeah.
I understand. That's crazy. And that's cool.
yeah, and that's where I think it would help with snowboarders, because I definitely think snowboarders do kind of look at it as kind of a wacky. Not saying I do,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people, a lot of snowboarders aren't that hyped on it. Where I feel like if there was more people posting about it, like Brantley told me this a little while ago, which I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but she's pretty honest, so I'm believing her about it. But she said that Red and Haley watched the ZMT videos. Red Gerard
What'd
and
they think?
Haley Langland. I think they thought it was dope. But it's like you have to have enough videos for those to circulate enough to get to people. And you have to have enough people posting about it, like companies and whatnot.
So this is a bigger thing. And I think it's a really good point. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. But like everybody's always talking about like growing wakeboarding and all these different aspects. And it's like, that's something you don't think about, where if you have a bunch of sick videos and they make their way outside of the wakeboarding industry, because all the wakeboarders are going to like be all obsessed with it. This is super cool. But if they make their way outside because they're that cool and like they have cool shit in them, where like these bigger names are like, oh, like I didn't know wakeboarding was like that. Like I'll give that a go. Like that's a cool sport. That looks cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think winching is so small that it doesn't even have the opportunity to get to those people.
To crack that. Like,
Yeah.
But if you had enough videos, enough promotion about it, it might, so
I think it would.
you would, yeah. It's cool shit, dude. There's a lot of cool shit going on in
Yeah.
winching. Like there's a lot of cool videos. So that's an interesting point. I didn't know that, but I was curious your thoughts on that.
Like, I think if someone drops a winch video, that company should be like
Promoting the shit out of it, like doing
the
premieres
shit
and
out of
tour.
it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like all the time.
Yeah.
Like if a video dropped 6 months ago, go repurpose a couple winch clips.
Have the
here and
have the
there.
people who are in the video voice over and talk about it and post it on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Like there's so much easy ways to like repurpose that content to get people seeing it and talking about it again.
Which I don't work at a company, so maybe I'm completely wrong. Like take what I say with a grain of salt. But if I had an opinion on it, I would think they should be promoting it more.
Yeah, I would agree. I think
Because I think that's how you tap into the core people. Because your average snowboarder watches someone do like a 1080 on a jump. They're used to watching people do 2160s. It's like a 1080 on a jump is nothing to a snowboarder.
yeah,
Someone that watches snowboarding often, at least.
they're like we did that in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that we did a wakeboarding in the 90s on boat too, but we just haven't gone.
And in
higher.
snowboarding, switch ups are kind of lame to a majority of the people. Like you'll never see a core snowboarder go do a switch up
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
because it's a skier thing.
A swap? Swaps are skier thing?
Yeah.
A little K-Fed skier
Yeah.
thing? Yeah.
Which no hate towards skiers, but it's just like
Maybe a little bit.
yeah, probably a little bit. But
it's just like their thing. It's like they do swaps or whatever.
and in wakeboarding, it's a lot of swaps, which I don't think you shouldn't do swaps, but I definitely think there's too many swaps.
I think
in
there's a cool
wakeboarding.
way to do everything.
Yeah.
You can do anything cool as long as it's like legit. You can do anything
Yeah.
cool, but things do get blown out of
But
proportion.
it's like the majority of stuff you see from a wakeboarder is probably like swaps and jumps,
yeah.
which isn't going to attract like a snowboarder most of the time, I think, personally.
I think a lot of people in wakeboarding would say that we shouldn't focus on attracting snowboarders at all. What would you say to that?
Why? It's just more people. Like, you're getting someone that already loves to do a board sport. Like, a majority of people snowboarding aren't just going like once and then being like, all right. Or I guess there probably are people like that. But it's a whole crowd of people that love doing something that's like so similar to wakeboarding that if they just tried it, I think a majority of them would enjoy it
Yeah.
and do it more than once.
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
post about it and then get more snowboarders into it.
Yeah.
And then that's just more people in the same like-minded community. Like snowboarding and wakeboarding have so many similarities.
More than like a lot of two sports do.
Yeah. Like way more than snowboarding and skateboarding has.
Yeah.
Like snowboarding and skateboarding is way different than snowboarding and wakeboarding. Way more different, at least I should say.
I actually we got a Patreon question from Dan Jarrett. So thank you to all the Patreon subscribers. Your guys' support is literally what keeps this podcast going. So thank you so much. If you guys want to see who the guests are early, make sure to join that Patreon. You guys can submit questions for them. But we got one from Dan Jarrett, owner of West Rock Wake Park. And he's wondering, what are the main reasons holding back snowboarders from riding cable? Touched on a little bit, but
I think there's not many wake parks.
I think that's like pretty much it.
I think a majority of the wake parks are here, which there's no snowboarders. I mean, there are. Like
there's not even that many cables here in Florida. Like that's the thing.
Yeah. I just think they're not relevant enough, and boats are too expensive.
I think you just nailed it. Like that's pretty much it. Like,
yeah.
It's not. I don't know if it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Like if there was a cable in every major metro.
Yeah.
Minneapolis
exactly.
could have 4 cables
easily.
So, but they have to be run correctly, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think there's not enough opportunity to go do it for a lot of people. I mean, look at wakeboardings or like Salt Lake City is Orlando for snowboarding.
Yeah.
And there's no cables there. So it's like you have the majority, like probably 50% of your big name snowboarders live in Salt Lake. And there's nowhere to wakeboard around there. Yeah. I mean, there's hardly... is there any boat riders around there?
Yeah, there's actually a really solid boat scene.
Oh, really?
But I don't think it's like a lot of your snowboard guys because their boats are super expensive.
I think you're not going to get people into it through boat because it's too expensive. Like there are people buying $200,000 boats, but.
Well, and boats are sick, but it's also like the ease of showing up to a ski resort is you bring your board, you put all your gear on, you go up the chairlift, and you're good to go. Ease of a cable park is you bring all your gear, you put it on, you grab a handle, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Boat, you got to fill it with gas, you got all this stuff. Not saying that they're awesome. It's fun to ride boat, but
what we're talking about. I just think, it's opportunity.
Yeah.
There's not much opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward there. More cables in America. I think there was a cable, like Minnesota could have a strong cable scene, dude.
An epic cable scene. Right? Dude, Mike Little used to be huge into wakeboarding. He's like the GOAT.
There you go. All right, we got to dive into another segment, and this one's presented by Slingshot. It's the Slingshot Silhouette Challenge. So we got a photo of a rider, and we we blacked out, I guess, since Brooks said that it's not a silhouette, it's a blackout. So we blacked out the rider. Do you already know who it is?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, I've been making these too easy,
This
man.
one was way too easy.
How? Were you even there for that? Who is it?
I thought I was maybe in the background. It's Dylan.
Yeah, that's Dylan.
I might have taken that photo. I don't think I actually take it. I think I was running the winch, but I was there.
Well, see, here's the problem.
I posted this picture on the ZMT Instagram.
Okay. I don't know if you did it or not, but
it's on there. That was an easy one.
See, I didn't know if I could. I can't go boat. You would have no idea who any boat rider is, and I can't go other like. I mean, I could have gone like Felix or something. That would have been a better option.
Unless it was like someone I knew, I probably wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, another layup there from the Slingshot Silhouette Challenge. So, thank you to Slingshot for that. I think it's time we dive into another guest question. Let's go, Ava Peterson. We're calling to the table.
Hi, Gibby. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. First of all, it is no secret that our wakeboarding styles out here in the Midwest are heavily influenced by snowboarding. Now that you are pursuing snowboarding and making a career out of it, possibly, I want to know how wakeboarding has influenced you in snowboarding now. Maybe to help you out with this question, because it is a little broad, maybe touch on how you have won worlds and have had a bunch of successes in wakeboarding specifically at such a young age. How has that now influenced you in snowboarding? Because you are a successful little snowboarder and you're going places. So if you have any specific mindsets or anything that you kind of go for now that is influenced from your successes in wakeboarding, maybe touch on that. So yeah, I'm excited to listen and hear what you have to say.
All right.
World champion, Gibby Corcoran.
For starters, thank you for the kind words. There's kind of a lot to unpack in there.
Sure is.
So, for starters, I guess influence from
Yeah.
wakeboarding into snowboarding.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I think it's more I was taking snowboarding influence into wakeboarding, and then wakeboarding was more just helping with my fundamentals. So, air awareness, I learned all my air awareness from wakeboarding and transferred that into snowboarding. Like, I think if I never got into wakeboarding, I never would have gotten into jumps on a snowboard. Or at least not nearly as much as which I'm still pretty bad at jumps, but I'll go upside down. So honestly, not much influence from wakeboarding besides just getting better.
The
at
actual
riding.
act of like doing the thing. Yeah.
And Worlds, what was she saying about
No,
Worlds?
she just said that was the question, was influence. So like you kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
She was just saying that you're a world champion wakeboarder. Can you run us through the world championship real quick? And why is that not in your bio?
Because I just feel like I don't know.
Run us through worlds though. Where did it happen? How did it happen?
All
Who are
right.
you riding against? Like,
I don't remember what year it was. I think I was like 15 or 16. And all right, start from the beginning. We were at Elevated. Jake and Ethan were going. Like, we're planning on going. It was maybe 2 weeks away. And Dylan kept asking me. He was like, why don't you sign up for Worlds? Whatever. And I never even like thought about it, to be honest, because I never did any competitions really. So I just didn't think I'd stack up with the people. But it was at Valdosta, which usually, I think the years prior, it was in Europe or something. And I was never going to travel to Europe for Worlds or whatever, because I would just lose anyway. But it was the year of COVID. So yeah, it must have been like 2020 or 2021. Year of COVID, so no one could travel. So it was like only people from the U.S. really were there. So the amount of riders was slimmed down a lot. Maybe not. I guess I had never been to a Worlds before that. But at least the talent pool was way lower because people couldn't travel to come to it. And so like 2 weeks before, Dylan bugged me enough that I was like, all right, I'll go and sign up or whatever. And I signed up, and we went down, and I just did features only or whatever, I think it's called. The rail jam kind of part. I guess you still hit the jump. Yeah. But it wasn't like, it was like a jam format.
Oh, it was a jam format?
Yeah, you had
I had no idea.
You had like 15 minutes, and they would pick your best trick or line. It was like 5 sections or something. Okay. So it was like kickers, then like the front line, the back line. I don't know. But you'd ride for 15 minutes, and you try to get a good line and kicker hit on all the features, and they'd take your best one from each section.
I don't know how people keep track of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and tally it up somehow. And yeah, I ended up winning.
Congrats on the dub. Who was second? Do you remember who was second?
I think Labrin Depta.
There you go.
I don't remember who was third. But I don't know.
World champ.
Yeah, I guess, but it wasn't even. There was
They
like
don't ask how. They ask
there
how
was no one
bud.
there. It was also junior pro, so it wasn't even like I was competing against.
It's all you're competing against Gavin or Trent or whatever. Like.
Yeah, which I would have smoked him anyway, but.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into another guest question from Colin Pitts.
Here we go.
I'm sure you've talked about wakeboarding and how bad it is so far. So shout out a good time that you had wakeboarding. Like, what's your favorite? One of your favorite memories. Come on now.
Nice, short and sweet. Probably sent that to you yesterday.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Maybe this morning, honestly.
He's a mega procrastinator, but I love him.
You got
good memory. I don't know. I honestly, I've been having fun this summer. I don't go often.
Like you're enjoying wakeboarding right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm enjoying it more because I just go. I don't feel like I have to do anything or ever post. I think, honestly, the not posting makes it the most fun.
Yeah.
Like just being able to go to the cable, no expectations, which I feel like I'm honestly, not to toot my own horn, but I'm like doing tricks that I would have filmed previously. Like if I was still super into wakeboarding, I would definitely be filming edits right now. But since I'm kind of on a different path, it's like fun to just show up, do tricks that I'm hyped on and just not film anything.
Do you think that posting wakeboarding regularly would have a negative impact on your snowboard career?
Definitely. That's kind of a harsh answer, but I just think
would people not see you as just a snowboarder? They would see you as like a snowboarder and a wakeboarder, and then maybe that would get confusing.
Yeah, I just think there's like a weird. I don't know if this is a word, but I'm gonna use it. Stigma. There's
Astigmatism is the
stigma
vision thing. Yeah, stigma
around it, where it's just like kind of. I guess when you're an outsider and you don't know anything about wakeboarding, it's a rich kid sport. Which I'm not saying everyone in wakeboarding is a rich kid, but when you don't know anything about it, you just think of $200,000 boat,
living on a lake.
Yeah, like this kid must have a bunch of money, which I if you got a bunch of money, good for you. Like that's sick. Yeah. That's everyone's goal in life. But yeah, I think it does kind of have like it just puts a perspective in people's heads.
Do you think it's gotten better or worse over the past 5 years since you've been into both? 7 years.
I think it's kind of the same.
Stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Probably.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten better over the last 20 years.
Probably.
Like I remember being on a chairlift when I was like a little kid, and like I would either hear someone say something about wakeboarding or someone would talk about wakeboarding, like heavy negative words were said about the sport.
Which there's definitely still that. But yeah, I think until there's an opportunity for everyone to try it, it's going to be hard to put a new perspective in their mind.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I agree. That's fair. All right, we're talking about wakeboarding, snowboarding. Let's talk about the places you do them. So what makes a ski resort good? And then we'll dive into what makes a cable park good in your opinion, because you've ridden a lot of both.
Your friends. I think I could go to any place in the world, and if I'm riding with Colin, there's no way I'm not going to have fun. Yeah. Like, I mean, you could go to a resort with no park, and we're going to have fun. So I don't think it really matters where you are, as long as you have, like, a good group of friends.
And that goes for both aspects?
Yeah,
just
I think
wakeboarding and snowboarding.
I mean, because Action is a good park. It's a fun park, and it's definitely a lot better now that they have that down, flat down. But before that, they don't have any huge features or big kickers.
Nothing to scare you or like get your adrenaline going for the most part.
So it's pretty easy to peak there pretty fast, which is kind of how I felt. Is you can always get a little more creative or whatever, but at some point you do want a bigger kicker or bigger rail or more kinks or whatever it happens to be.
More difficulty, yeah. But
it's like we would go every day and do the same tricks, but it would be fun because you're with your friends.
Yeah.
Like I would definitely go ride without my friends, but not nearly as often.
Yeah. I think
if I knew my buddies were going to be there, I'm for sure going.
Yeah. It's super important to like foster that as like a cable or a ski resort where it's like make it easy for everybody to come together and hang out. Because that's you're just going to hang out with your friends. Yeah. The activity is just like.
Which there's a community at which not all communities are great. Like I think there are some places where it's like people are too competitive and it kind of gives you a bad taste.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, you'll find a group that you'll click with. And
yeah, definitely. At every ski resort and cable, there's enough people there that like you'll find one or two people that you see eye to eye with.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It might take a little bit of time. Like it might take a while to find those people, or maybe you got to bring them. I don't know, but I think that's the number one thing for sure. What is something cool about wakeboarding that makes it unique compared to snowboarding?
The rope.
Yeah, I was gonna give you a layup there. The rope.
Yeah. I just think you're able to do like rewinds, or if you're like so out of control in the air, it's so easy to get back to your feet on a wakeboard. Or snowboarding, you're like, you have no chance.
Once you take off,
unless you're Zeb Powell. Like that fool will find his feet no matter what. But yeah, I just think there's a lot more possibilities on a wakeboard because you're able to like rewind, or like think of the hardest trick on a snowboard. What is it? To a normal person on a rail.
To a normal person on a rail, I have no idea what the hardest trick on a snowboard is. Like frontboard pretzel? I don't know.
Yeah, and on a wakeboard, the easiest trick is probably a frontboard pretzel.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's like stuff like that is just way easier. I don't know.
All right, we got a Patreon question from Fletcher Huberts, the kid,
Epic.
and he was talking about frontboard pretzels. He was saying frontboard pretzel on a snowboard is like a respected like hard trick for the average person.
Yeah, it's not super hard, but it's like one of those when you're growing up in snowboarding, like that's like one of the. It's like a cab 2 pull.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. Like it's okay. So compare that to like on a wakeboard, it's easy. What in a similar vein, if you flipped it, what's a trick that on a wakeboard is like more difficult than or not more difficult than you think, but like what would the frontboard pretz be equivalent to on a wakeboard?
I don't know. I think this is a hard truth, but everything in wakeboarding is pretty easy until you get to like Trent level. Yeah. Like I'll never be able to do what he's or Gavin or all those dudes that are like doing crazy stuff.
So what are they doing that would be like in that same vein?
I don't know, like a back 12, a double roll to blind. I don't know. I don't think there's any like in snowboarding. Like now, a front board pretzel to me is like I don't think about it. Like it's one of those that you can kind of just mindlessly do.
Yeah.
But I don't think in wakeboarding there's like one of those more easier tricks that's like super hard.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that one, but. Probably not. I mean, the handle just helps so much.
Yeah.
Like, you can do so much with the handle. But
yeah, I think, and maybe, I just think it comes a lot easier on a wakeboard. Like, everything is easier.
Yeah, it is.
Which,
there's nobody should get upset about that. Like,
I think there's probably people that will take offense to that, but it's just how it is.
Maybe some air tricks. I'm not well versed in those, and you aren't really either. So, like,
No.
I'm sure somebody could speak to that, but like that may be an avenue that they could think of.
And I'm probably not good enough at wakeboarding to know some tricks that are super hard too.
Yeah, fair, super fair.
Yeah,
there you go. All right, let's move on to culture. What is culture in your opinion, and how important is it to like a board sport?
Well, I think your friends have a big impact on your view on culture. Like, I think the wakeboarding culture we have in Michigan is way different than the wakeboarding culture in Orlando.
Explain.
I think here, which maybe it's different. I haven't ridden here.
We're going to the cable tonight. We're going to the cable tonight.
So we'll test the waters.
Yeah.
But I think here it's very like competition oriented. Like everyone, maybe not everyone's trying to be but I remember I used to come and I would ride Orlando, and I felt like everyone was kind of watching me. Which I'm not saying I was, like, pulling up, like, some super good person. But
watching you for what reason, though?
They're, like, eyeing you up, trying to see, like, if you're better than them or whatever. And that stuff just doesn't matter. Like, there's always going to be someone better than you. Always. Unless you're Trent.
Facts.
I don't know if anyone will ever get better than him. But there's always going to be someone better than you. So if you're trying to compare yourself to people all the time,
you're going to hate that sport real quick,
It ruins your mentality about it. So I think, like, up there, it's just more of, like, which maybe it's because we all kind of suck at wakeboarding, to be honest. Like, no one's good enough to, like, be mad that someone else is better than them because we're all pretty much on the same level.
Yeah.
Where here, well, just no one travels to compete. It's not a thing up there as much as it is down here.
Yeah.
So I think, like, who you ride with has a huge impact on your culture. But in the more general aspect, it's just like how people on the outside view it on the inside. So, like, for a snowboarder to look at wakeboarding, they think of, like, rich kid with a boat.
Yeah.
Which I'm
oversimplifying it, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like you want to have a more inviting culture, I feel like.
You'd rather have them look at it and be like, oh, that just looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I feel like culture is very regional.
Yeah.
To where, like, Salt Lake has a way different snowboard culture than the Midwest does.
Yeah. Or
probably Europe. I've never been to Europe, but I would assume their culture is way different than Salt Lake's.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I also think that makes it really cool. That, like, there's these pockets that are totally different. And you might disagree with, or not disagree, but you might not vibe with that culture.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's fine. Don't be involved in that one then.
There's definitely some place, like, I bet you if the kids from down here went to Action, they'd be like, dang, all these kids suck here. Like, why is everyone so bad? But
yeah, but They don't
But we're
revert.
probably having more fun.
Having fun, and they're not reverting, so that helps.
There you
A
go.
little bit.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
there's also nothing wrong with the competition mentality. Like, obviously, like, I'm assuming Trent probably had that mentality, and look where I got him. Like,
He's still got it. He's a dog, dude.
he's the best in the world. So it's like, it's just where you want to go with your riding.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wouldn't want the competition guys to like dog on the dudes who are doing it for fun and filming and stuff, and vice versa. Like, that's just, you pick your lane.
Like, I have preferences, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having a competition mentality. But I would just I wouldn't have as much fun if I had that mentality.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing about like board sports. A lot of people get into it because it's not competition. Like, you get into it because you're riding with your friends, self-expression, you're learning tricks. It's not trying to beat somebody else, like basketball or something.
Now I'm super motivated, and I'm constantly watching videos and trying to figure out how I can get to the point of like all the people that
there's
inspire
this
me.
bar, and you're trying to get to that bar, right?
And so, but if I would have had that mentality from the beginning, I think I would have gotten burnt out.
Yeah.
But it works for some people.
It
so
does.
It's whatever works for you.
It's a different journey, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's talk about filming in wakeboarding versus snowboarding. So we were talking at lunch about, cameras and all that stuff. And what's your take on like wakeboard filming right now as like en masse, like as a whole versus maybe other sports filming?
Are we talking like street?
No, just like the filming of the like cameras you use, angles, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think wakeboarding's probably more dialed, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. Like, look at like Rivers and Gavin and Trent. They're all filming with like super nice cameras, and all their footage is like super good
Crisp.
quality.
Yeah.
Which is sick. But I think like part of the reason I like watching like snowboarding on Instagram is because it's more relatable. Like, people are like, every edit on my Instagram is filmed with an iPhone, which anyone can go do. Which I'm not saying, like, I love watching Rivers and Gavin's stuff, but I don't think it all needs to be, like, high quality 4K.
Variety.
Because it's just not relating to the masses of people that have a super nice camera. But there's definitely a space for it.
Okay.
But I don't think it should be all 4K camera.
Variety, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
think go bust an HVX out at the park and it's like super sick. Or go ride around with a jet ski and a phone. Like, I like Trent's iPhone clips on the cable. I almost enjoy watching those more than I like watching an edit of him on a super nice camera.
Yeah.
I definitely bust a nice camera out from time to time too, though.
Yeah, but it's variety. I think that's what you're saying.
But in snowboarding, no one does it.
The super nice camera? You mean?
Yeah, like in the park at least.
Yeah.
I mean, even riding street, like, you rarely see someone filming
Why do you think that is?
the culture. Like, I think just for so long, it's like taken all of its inspiration from skateboarding.
It was like the skateboard VX culture. Like, there's still skate movies that are filmed on VX.
Yeah, it's like Colin Feldman still films on an AC 160, which is a nice camera. Films 1080, but he could be filming on a red if he wanted to. Like, he's the top filmmaker in snowboarding, but he's still filming 1080.
Yeah. And that shit's still gas, dude. So, like...
And I think it looks better. I think it creates a better vibe for the video than...
I agree.
Like, if you compare the 32 video to any Colin Feldman video, which it's also Colin's editing.
There's also a lot more that
editing.
goes into what like who he's filming, how he's filming it, like
Yeah.
songs. There's a lot of shit that goes.
But I think, there's like some, like, did you watch that monster video?
Yeah, the one that, dude, that like cracked 1 million views like right away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the park edit.
Yeah.
Like, I think that looked way better because it was on some insane 10K camera. Like, I loved how that was. But I also think you need like the low quality stuff.
It's a little bit more like raw, and like it feels like you're there a little bit more.
Yeah, it's more relatable.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest way to get someone into a sport is to make it relatable. Because if it seems so far out,
so professional, so dialed, so this.
Yeah, it's like if I like watch that monster video as a non-snowboarder, I'd be like, oh, there's no way I'll ever get to that point. But if I watch some dude filming 720 in the park or whatever, it's like, I could probably go film a video like that.
Yeah. That's a good outlook on that. I've never really thought about it that in depth, but I like that. I think it's time we dive into another guest question from Samy. I don't know how to say his last name. Kautner? Have you talked to him?
Oh, you got a guest question from him?
Yeah, of course, bro.
That's epic. The GOAT.
Hey Gibby, hey Hunter, it's Samy Kautner here. Long time no see, hope you're doing all fine. I got the honor to ask you a question, and yeah, here it is. So we haven't seen a lot of wakeboard clips from you lately on the gram, so I was wondering if we're gonna see some more street parts in snowboarding rather than in wakeboarding in the future. And what would you choose if you had to decide? Would you choose wakeboarding or snowboarding? Yeah, I think everyone likes watching you both ways, but yeah, would be interesting to know. Cheers, guys. See you soon, hopefully.
Epic. Thank you, Samy. The GOAT. The sickest.
So good, dude.
Yeah, 2 years ago, still super into wakeboarding. I would go all the time. I didn't have a summer job. Like, I would go to the park. I mean, I would do work, but I didn't have like a actual job that was taking up all my time. So I was going wakeboarding most every day. And then at the end of the winter, not this past winter, but the winter previously, I landed on my wrist and tore some ligament and needed surgery on it, but didn't know. So I did that. I landed on my wrist in April and kind of thought it was just sprained for a while, was trying to let it heal, never got better, hurt too bad to wakeboard. So I wasn't wakeboarding. I was kind of just working. Got it checked out in June, realized I tore a bunch of stuff in my wrist and needed surgery to get it fixed because it was not going to fix on its own. Ended up getting surgery in July, wasn't able to wakeboard for the rest of the summer. So I was out all last summer with an injury, but going into it, I was expecting to wakeboard still. So I wasn't just like fully
out.
I didn't just like leave because I was uninterested. I was hurt. And then filmed a bunch this past winter. Got a full part coming out from this past winter. But yeah, then I guess after last summer, I kind of realized, I always knew I was a little more into snowboarding than wakeboarding. Like, I was always more excited going into snowboarding and didn't want it to end. Versus wakeboarding, I was excited, but I was always looking forward to snowboarding the next fall. And yeah, I guess just going into this summer, I had a pretty bad injury in December that put me out for like 2.5 months, pretty much. And when I got back, I was just like more eager than ever to film. So I was like super motivated and kind of realized I was way more hyped on that route than trying to make wakeboarding. I also realized there's not really maybe there's a spot for me in wakeboarding, but I'd have to devote more time than I would want to. Like, I'd probably have to miss out on some snowboarding things that I definitely would not want to do. Like, I would be way more hyped to do the snowboarding things. So yeah, I guess it just naturally, after last summer, I missed out on a lot, but I didn't feel like I was missing out that much, which kind of made me realize.
Yeah, it made the decision kind of easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I have you haven't been to Europe, but I was just there somewhat recently for LAO, and obviously Samy and Yannick and like a bunch of these guys do snowboarding and wakeboarding. Like, I would say Samy's a very good snowboarder, as is Yannick, and like a lot of guys, as also very good wakeboarders.
Yeah.
And I think that there's like a much bigger market and opportunity for them to do both over there because wakeboarding is so big and it's so popular, and obviously snowboarding is huge too. So do you think if you were over there, you would be doing them, like you would be wakeboarding in the summer and then snowboarding in the winter? Or do you think you would be doing exactly what you're doing now?
I would hope so. I don't know because I've never been there.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely, if I saw the opportunity for both here, I would put the time in.
Yeah. Like, if the scene was really strong here in wakeboarding.
Yeah.
Like, and there was some financial, like, incentive of, like, okay,
Yeah.
go to some contests or film or whatever. Like,
I just think it's more valuable for me to spend the summer working and wakeboarding on the weekends or after work and having all that extra money to go do whatever I want all winter.
Yeah,
I
to
take
truly
the winters
pursue
off.
it. Yeah, yeah. In the
I work
winter.
I work for like which I'm doing at this is actually the first year I've kind of had like an actual job in the summer. But so I'll take like the 6 months of winter off, and then this summer I'll end up going to Hood for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
So I work all spring and stack up the money, and then kind of keep following the snowboarding path.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's
So-
I would say that's the best. I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah.
that seems like the best path. A lot of other people have done that exact same thing,
Yeah.
and it eventually does work out. So, all right, let's. We got 2 more guest questions, so we'll dive into another quick one here from Gavin Stuckey.
Gibson, Gibby, Gibbitron, Gibbitoni. I got a question for you. So since you've been through some rounds wakeboarding and now you're in the door working with Never Summer, I want to know how is making it different between snow and wake? Because from the outside perspective, there's so many good, sick snowboarders or just people who snowboard in general. I feel like it would be really hard to grab the attention of these bigger brands. While in wakeboarding, it's kind of everyone knows everyone, and one post later, the kid's being talked about. So how's that different? And do accounts like Check the Feed hold value in bringing attention to these upcoming riders in snowboarding? And should there be an account like this in wakeboarding? Let me know. Stoked to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah, boy.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Gavin.
So I think he does bring up an interesting point on the making it in snow versus wake.
Yeah.
That's like almost counter of what you were saying. So yeah, let me know your thoughts.
Was it counter?
Well, because it's like wakeboarding is so less saturated. There's so many less people. Like you can kind of blow up quicker,
Oh, yeah.
but maybe there isn't as much money, obviously.
Which I feel like I kind of felt that. I never got to the point in wakeboarding where I was even like close to being a pro. But I did feel like I got to the point where I knew everyone.
Yeah.
Which I still don't feel like that in snowboarding at all. Like not even close. And I've been snowboarding longer than I've been wakeboarding. And I think it's just a longer game, but with more reward at the end of it. So
That
it's
makes
just,
sense,
yeah. It's like you have to be very intentional too. Where wakeboarding, I never really had a set route that I was like trying to go down, but felt like it all came together. I guess I shouldn't say came together because I obviously didn't make it in wakeboarding.
Yeah, but you made videos that did pretty well in the terms of wakeboarding. You went to contests.
And I felt like I knew everyone.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's really
I knew
cool,
a bunch
too.
of the Europe people, which is the sickest.
Yeah.
Like I'm so jealous of that with snowboarding. Like I wish I could be in snowboarding where I was at with wakeboarding, just connection wise.
Yeah.
But we're working on it.
Well, like you said, it's bigger. It's a longer game. Like it's just there's
Yeah.
more people. There's so
Which
many more people.
It's like I'm going to Hood to network, and I
Yeah.
go to Salt Lake City in the fall to network. I also go to ride, but it's almost more about going and meeting the people and actually getting to have like face-to-face conversations and a personal, like on a personal level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think the industry's like way bigger, so it just takes a lot longer.
Which makes sense. That's how it's going to be.
And I'm more passionate about snowboarding.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to want to go spend all my money and do the snowboarding thing than do it with wakeboarding because I'm just not quite at the same point with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the coolest things about wakeboarding, though, is, and maybe it's like more, you burn out quicker, it's more short-lived, but when you get into wakeboarding, you could be in for like a couple years and then like,
Yeah.
like if you're really in it and you're traveling.
I felt
and
like
you're
my
filming,
third
like-
year wakeboarding, I was like that.
Yeah. Which is, I think it's sick. Like
Super sick.
you go to like a yard sale or like a Langenfeld Open, like all the best pros are there. And like,
Yeah.
if you've been in it for a little bit and you're a good rider, like you just start having like shooting the shit with these guys. And
Yeah.
It's like, or girls. And it's
But
cool.
I think that's also why I like snowboarding. Is it's kind of
got
like
more-
a constant chase
Yeah.
of like
There's more unknowns and more like
Yeah.
vagueness and
yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, it's like a full-time job. All I do is like listen to podcasts and rewatch all the videos, like just trying to figure out like what the best kind of route and
Yeah,
what
where
I
to go
should
next.
be doing.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what anyone who's trying to like actually do the damn thing
Yeah.
needs to be doing.
Yeah.
It's not just hang out and snowboard. Check the feed.
Check the
Thoughts?
feed. Super sick when I was a kid. Like he was definitely shouting me out a decent little bit, and
That
I
helps.
was super hyped. And it gained me a bunch of exposure that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Now, it's a little different. Like I think it's sick what he's doing.
It has a place for sure.
It has a place. I don't fully. It's not my thing anymore. Like, I'm not like, if I got on Check the Feed, I'd be super hyped.
Well, when you're not following it super closely, like, oh, what's on Check the Feed right now? Yeah.
But when I was younger, it definitely was a big help.
Yeah.
To just gaining exposure. And it probably would help in wakeboarding, but I feel like it's just so much smaller that it's, I mean, like Lewis, how do you say his last name?
Louis Egrix.
Louis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's like, I never heard of him, and now he's like one of the sickest dudes.
Yeah.
And that was like over the course.
Less than a year.
But I feel like for me, it happened in a week. I saw him like at the beginning of the week, and then by the end of the week, he was just like all over everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is super dope. But you just don't see that happen in snowboarding.
Yeah. I just think that there's like a lot of really, really good snowboarders. And then, I mean, there's a lot of really, really good wakeboarders. But like you think of Louis, it's like, damn, that guy's like really, truly fucking killing it. Like, of course, he's going to rise to the top, and it's going to be quick because there's not a ton of people in it.
Yeah.
So.
And in wakeboarding, I feel like you can just be super good, and that'll get you places. But in snowboarding, I mean, like, if you go ride a rope tow in Minnesota, like, no matter how good you think you are, go to Trollhagen, and there's going to be some 13-year-old kid doing a cab 2 pretz stew way better than you'll ever do it, and it's going to humble you.
And this kid's got nobody.
And that kid's not sponsored or anything, so you need that something that isn't just being good.
Yeah.
It's like your personality,
X factor, dude. You always have it.
How good you are at talking with people. All the things that come not just from your riding.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good.
Which
point.
I think is almost more important. I think
you have to have the good. You have to have the solid riding.
You have to be super good, but I think it's almost more important to be either flashy or like someone that everyone wants to be around.
Yeah, definitely. For sure is the second part.
Yeah.
So. Do you think people want to be around you, Gibby?
I'd hope so.
I think we change gears. Let's talk setup. So, I mean, you said you've been wakeboarding a little bit, but we'll do snowboard and wakeboard setup. Let's start with wakeboard. So, typically, what are you riding?
I'm riding Volt. I think 153 Volt with some mobs.
Okay. What's your stance? Do you know? You just kind of eyeball it?
All the way in, little duck.
All right.
I assume like 9 and 9. That's what I go for in my head. I don't think there's numbers on it, but
no, there's not. There's little
but
symbols.
If I were to guess, I try to put my stance like 9 and 9. But I go all the way in on a wakeboard.
Okay, and snowboard, what are we looking at? Run through everything. Board, boots, bindings, everything. What do you got?
Ride deluxe boots, flux bindings, Never Summer board. I ride the Easy Rider, 154, and stance 1 out on each binding, and 9 and 9. 9 and -9.
Okay. You said your wakeboard's 153, snowboard 154?
Correct.
Interesting. As close as you can get right there. So, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I probably should be riding a bigger board, but
bigger snowboard?
Probably bigger both.
Yeah. Maybe you should get on that then, bud.
But I don't know.
It works, dude. It works.
Yeah, for now. And I don't think I look goofy, personally.
You are goofy, though, right?
I am
right
goofy.
before it? Okay.
Correct.
That's
a bad term, though.
Yeah, okay. Why is
left and right foot.
Do you remember why Goofy was like, do you remember the origins of Goofy?
Nope.
I don't remember it well enough to tell the story on the podcast, but it has something to do with surfing and like the Goofy, Goofy the character.
Uh-huh.
He was surfing in one of the cartoons like way back when, and he was standing with his right foot in front and everybody else was left foot in front.
Oh, really?
Don't quote me on that, but I'm like 70% sure that's what happened.
That would kind of make sense, though.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's easier to just say left foot or right foot.
It is, especially when you're trying to like actually explain like things that you're doing where it's like, did you hit it Goofy? It's like, well, sure. I don't know. Yeah. Left foot, right foot makes more sense. All right. So this winter you filmed, and you kind of touched on it. Who'd you film with? What are you sitting on? Where'd you guys go? Run us, paint a picture of the winter you just had.
Filming with Sinister, snowboard crew. That includes Colton Carroll, Bobby Stitt, Sam Anderson, and filmers Alex Havey, the man, the GOAT. But yeah, so went around with that crew. First trip, pretty hectic. extremely hectic, actually.
When and where?
We started very end of October or maybe very beginning of December. It was like right at the split.
Yeah.
And they drove over to Kalamazoo, so like about an hour south of where I live in Michigan.
A lot of spots in Kalamazoo.
A lot of spots. Pretty famous. Michigan is honestly super, for the wakeboarders that don't know, super famous for riding street. Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Houghton.
A lot of Detroit spots when it snows there.
Yep. So started off in Kalamazoo, pull up, very first spot, this huge down bar donkey. And me and Bobby were scoping it and decided we were going to hit it. Set it up. Bobby starts it off and is battling a trick for quite a while. Ends up maybe 2 hours deep into the battle. Falls off early on the stair side, not wearing a helmet. Hits his head on the last stair. Gets knocked out, seizing on the ground, like blood and spit just like spewing out of his mouth. It was super bad. Thought he was going to die, to be honest. Like fully watched him fall, and he like sat into like almost like a fetal position. So I thought he just hit his head and was kind of just
like recovering.
Yeah. And then after like 2 or 3 seconds, you could kind of see his like body shaking. And I was like, he's like knocked out. Like he's not okay. And like me and Havy are at the bottom, and we run over and take his boots off. Then I kind of roll him onto his side, and he's just full on, like full body seizing, like fully knocked out, and just blood and spit is just like running out of his mouth. And I'm like I'm like holding his head, holding his mouth open so he doesn't choke on it all and whatnot. And they're like calling the ambulance. I was like freaking out, like heavy, like big time. Like I fully thought, very first spot of the year. We hadn't hit anything else. This is the first time I've ever ridden street with Bobby. And I'm like sitting there, like just like mentally just freaking out, thinking he's about to die, like right in front of me. And then a couple minutes go by, and the ambulance rolls up, and I see it on the street, and it kind of passes by where we are. So I like sprint up there and flag him down. And by the time we got back, he was kind of sitting up, like super out of it, And they check him out, get him in a neck brace, take him to the hospital. Gets out of the hospital, and he's like completely fine. Like it was absurd. Like I went from thinking he was going to die to the doctors told him he just needed a 2-day rest. It was insane. Sam picked him up from the hospital, or he went and sat with them for a little, and then we got food. Then he went back, and the doctors were like, yeah, he's okay. He has like minor concussion symptoms, but everything looks good. And I would just have him sit out for a couple days before he goes and rides again. Sam's like, you do know he was like seizing up on the ground. And they're like, yeah, like on all the tests and everything, he seems fine. So, which we didn't let him ride for the rest of the trip. It was like a 2-week trip.
Yeah.
So he just sat out the rest of the trip. Ended up filming like 1 or 2 more things in Kalamazoo. Maybe hit something in Grand Rapids, but booked it north because there wasn't much snow. Then we get to Houghton, film quite a bit of stuff there, and then end up like midway through our time in Houghton, I get worked in the road and dislocate my shoulder. And there's a whole crazy story with that at the hospital that we could get into if you want to. But
Why didn't you just not get worked on the road?
We messed up, and so we're hitting this rail, and it was like they had a bunch of snow, like a foot or two of fresh snow, and it's this rail into this bank, and it's super pretty looking, and we were like, there's a big bank at the bottom of it, but it was all natural, so we were like, let's not shovel out the bank. and because it just looks so pretty how it is. And, like, we don't want to mess up the shot by shoveling it all out. And I was hoping I was going to get it first try. So I do one, and I maybe, like, slipped out on the right away or something. Should have landed it, but I didn't. Or I did land it. I don't know why I did it again, to be honest. Something was bad with the first one. But I do it again as I'm riding out. This is, like, 3 seconds after I land it. So I fully land it, then hit this bank at the very bottom of the hill, and it just shoots me forward into the road, and my arm's, like, above my head. And I land on the road and just, like, didn't really notice that. I ride away, and I sit up, and I, like, move my arm. Like, I do, like, a circle with my arm to get it back in front of me. But just, like, my head just starts getting, like, I start feeling super lightheaded. I'm sitting in the middle of the road, and there's, like, cars coming. So I'm, like, unstrapping my boot with one hand. And then Havy kind of gets me to the other side of the road. And I just, like, realized it was, like, not chill at all. I wasn't sure what I did, because I never dislocated my shoulder before, or dislocated anything, really. I was like, either my shoulder's broken or it's popped out or something happened. But I have a full jacket and hoodie and long, like, everything on. So we couldn't just take it off real quick to look. So we hop in the whip, and we're in Houghton, Michigan, which is small town, no big hospitals nearby. So we drive like 20 minutes to a hospital, feeling super sick the whole time. Get to the hospital. I had a jacket I really liked on. So we sat in the parking lot for like 5 minutes getting the jacket off, so they didn't cut it off once we got inside. But we get in. I walk into the place, walk up to the desk, and the lady at the front desk asked for my name. I told her Gibson. Didn't even ask for last name. She just asked for my first name. She's like, okay, the nurse will be with you shortly. Hopefully the hospital people don't hear this. But we get in. They take me back into this room, get checked out a little bit. She's, like, prepping the x-ray machine or whatever. And then she's like, all right, we're going to go take x-rays. I'm, like, shirtless, crying, because it was, like, the worst pain I've, like, ever been in. It was bad. But I'm shirtless, crying in this hospital room with my shoulder just, like, so far down in my armpit. Like, it was obviously, like, super cooked. And as we're walking to the x-ray room, I'm limping because I hurt my leg too. But just, like, humiliated walking through this hospital with a bunch of doctors. I'm just, like, shirtless, crying. Like, and the nurse who's walking me to the x-ray room is, like, 15, 20 feet in front of me with a pace going. Like, she's walking fast, and I'm limping, crying, humiliated, just like, what is going on? Like, why is this lady not walking with me or have me in a wheelchair or something? Take the x-rays, same thing going back. I walk past a bunch of doctors who look at me all weird. Well,
they've never seen somebody, like, messed up in a hospital before?
Well, I was so far behind the
lady
nurse.
in front of you?
Like, it was pretty whack, to be honest. Like, the lady was not treating me good at all.
Scared.
Yeah, probably. But we get back into the room, takes some, like, 20 or 30 minutes maybe. And then she walks in, pop my shoulder back in, and we're walking out, and I wait at the front desk for them to give me my papers. Never give them my ID or anything. The lady hands me an envelope with a CD in it, and she's like, all right, here are your x-rays. You're good to go. All I left with was a CD case and a CD with my x-rays on it. Never asked for anything.
Free healthcare in America.
And so I call my mom once I'm outside because she didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And I called her and, like, told her what happened. And I was just like, yeah, like, how are they gonna bill us? She's like, they must have gotten your name somehow. Like, 2 months later, we just never got a bill in the mail.
Well, they didn't have there was no way to know who you are.
Yeah. I was, but
there's a little pro tip for everybody out there.
Yeah. Just have your nurses treat you like shit. They won't bill
She just
you.
wanted to get you out of there. She wanted nothing. You must have,
yeah.
Yeah. She just wanted to get you out of there. That's crazy. All right, so after all this, you got
that's very first trip of the year. All that happened.
Started off terribly.
But I had gotten like 4 clips. So honestly, like I was super bummed I got hurt. But it was like 50-50 on if it was like a win or a loss on the trip. So I wasn't bummed because it
wasn't a full-on loss. Yeah.
That was also when I did that back lip on the yellow rail.
That's on the gram?
Yeah.
In Kalamazoo, the downfly down?
That was Kalamazoo.
Yeah, that thing's been
I found out it was ABD.
Of course it's ABD. You
But
think that was an ABD?
Dude, I was with him on... Dude, blame Sam Anderson for that one.
All right.
It's funny, we actually found out about that. We were up in Houghton trying to figure out what had been done on a rail up there. And as we were watching this old forum video, trying to find different rails... Some dude just backlips that rail like 2 days after I had just done it, and we're like, shit, like we can't even use that anymore. And that was the very first clip I got of the year. Like that was first spot.
I mean, that's a big ass rail, yeah. How many stairs is it?
It's probably like a 12 flat 12 maybe.
At Waldo,
but it's disconnected, so it's kind of sketch.
Yeah, at the kink.
And it's somewhat of a tight stair set, and we had no snow. So it was all pretty.
You can if I remember, you can kind of run into the fence too, like
you gotta cut right after the rail.
Okay, I'm sick. I mean, sick rail for sure.
Yeah.
You definitely should have just done something different on it.
Yep.
So, but after like all in all, after the winter's over, you feel good about what you're sitting on.
Definitely, I'm super hyped.
All right, that's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into. Actually, no. Before we dive into the last guest question, so the concept of sitting on clips for an entire year and then releasing them. The like season before the season starts, so like they come out in the fall, which is technically before the winter starts.
Yep.
How important do you think that is?
To me or to
in general, like the concept of filming an entire year, waiting, sitting on all those clips so they can be edited and sorted through, and then having like this season of premieres basically, because that's what happens in snowboarding. You have like a season of premieres.
I don't think to like the general public it's as important, but to me growing up as a kid, like what got me hyped to go ride was like watching a video.
Yeah.
Like I've always been super hyped on videos since I like basically got into riding park. So like before I really even thought about riding street, we were always watching videos. And I think that's the reason I'm like so obsessed with snowboarding is because of watching videos. Like I think if there was no video parts, I never would have gotten as hyped.
Yeah, if it was only contests and stuff.
I don't want to just go rewatch X Games slopestyle from 2018 or whatever. Like that's not going to get me hyped up. But like watching some, because I don't necessarily think snowboarding is an art form, but a video definitely shows personality. It's way more than the snowboarding.
Creativity.
It's like the vibe and like how it makes you feel. And ultimately for me, like what gets me hyped to go ride.
Yeah.
Like nothing will get me more hyped than watching
a good video.
Jed Anderson's part in Rated R. But yeah, I just think for like younger kids that are trying to like watch something that's gonna get them obsessed.
Yeah, I
think a video part is the
best. It's really good to hook them, to like get them really hooked into it, and like,
and you're always waiting for them. It's a constant like all winter and summer. All I think about is like all the videos that are gonna drop in the fall.
If you think like if the videos came out in the spring and summer, do you think they would have as big of an impact as if they like how they come out now? They come out in the fall in like a very somewhat short window.
Yeah, I think they need to come out in the fall.
Because that's when everybody's getting back into it. The snow's starting to fall. Like, you're seeing resorts are starting to open. Like, there's murmurs of crews and stuff. Like, yeah.
And it's like, if you drop it in the spring, it's like people are past. Like, they're already checked out.
They're burnt, yeah.
Which, like, if you watch a video in the fall, it just, like, throws you right back in.
Yeah. And you're already excited.
You're like, all right, I'm going to snowboard in a month. Like, let me watch 40 videos that are going to hype me up. And one's dropping every day.
Yeah.
And it's just a constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're already excited to snowboard. And then you throw that on top of it. It's like, where's the fucking, like, let's go.
But I'm super hyped with what they did with Fruit Fly, too.
Yeah, like there's always room to do something different, right?
And that was, for people that don't know, it was dropped in, like, January or something. Or in February.
Yeah.
And I know how you feel about it, but I thought it was so sick.
I thought it was sick, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that like that's the room to do something different when you do have like this premiere season. You can have these little like outliers, but if everything's all spread out and it's released all throughout the year, or it's released at the wrong time, then it's like doesn't get people as hyped.
Yeah, I think midwinter stuff, it has to be something unique.
Yeah,
which I think in wakeboarding you need that too. Like I think if you're gonna drop something midsummer, it's got to be something no one sees very often.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's people are already hyped on wakeboarding and they're going wakeboarding, so it's like they don't need.
You don't need much, yeah.
But when you don't have anything, it's like that's when you want it most.
And that's like I think I've said it probably too many times, but like the spring release and like the premieres and all that stuff for wakeboarding, if you were to like make a perfect world, it would have like such a strong impact, and that way everybody who films all summer and fall sits on it in the winter. Can weed out some of the clips that don't need to be in and actually truly spend lots of time editing to make it like a solid project. And then boom, now it's like, all right, we're ready to go in the spring. So.
I think that's huge too, is like having the time to sit on your clips to really, because I could watch a clip right after I do it and be super hyped, but which this is a blessing and a curse too. Like it sometimes maybe doesn't work in your favor. Like if you watch a clip too many times, you're bound to not like it.
Yeah.
But you do need the time to figure out if it's really worth putting in, which I think having, like, quick turnaround times are dope. And for a park edit, like, it definitely works. But if you're filming something longer,
you need to look at each clip and, like, for a lot of variety of reasons, like, look at the angle, look at how it was filmed, like, look at how it lines up in the song, look at how my board is here, here, and here. Am I coming off a little bit early? Like, all those things need to be inspected.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we agree. All right, let's do a Patreon question, then we'll end with a guest question from Adam. So we got from Todd Allen. He's wondering, when is Never Summer going to make wakeboards again?
Probably never. I don't think there was a market in it.
Yeah, I mean, they made it for 1 year.
I was also I wasn't on Never Summer when they were making wakeboards. I think that was a few years before. I honestly think they made them before I even got into wakeboarding.
Yeah, there was one at Action in like 2016, 2017. One guy had them.
Yeah.
I think they could still press them, is what people say.
Before my time. But it's like, they're probably not going to make any money off
If they were based in Europe, maybe they would do it. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, the answer is no, probably not. I think we dive into a guest question from Adam Sinclair now.
Hey, Gibby, congratulations on getting on the pod. My question for you is, you've had all the crazy hairstyles over the years. How many concussions do you think you saved by having dreads for as many years as you did? Hey, man, hope you guys are having a great show. Catch you next time.
Probably a couple. Thanks for the question, Adam. Dude, also, where was he?
I don't know. There was a lot going on. You sound a little funny, too. I don't know.
But, yeah, probably a couple. It definitely...
Couple 2-tree.
But also might have helped or hurt me. It was like an added weight that was
build
probably
a strong neck,
more whiplash, more momentum going into it.
Yeah, true.
But yeah,
I
probably could have tossed the helmet, ditched the helmet when I had them.
There was a clip of you just riding the dreads I saw in that testing elevated one. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Just the dreads out.
Yeah.
Interesting kit choice.
Bad
there.
phase though. I don't really like to bring it up.
The dreads as a whole.
Yeah.
It made you. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody knew you as a kid with dreads. For sure.
Yeah. And now that's not what I want to be known as.
If you see Gibby, just be like, what happened to the dreads? Just every time you see him. Just definitely don't do that. All right, before we wrap this up, there's two things I want to touch on. One was your dunk at yard sale. Run through that.
Yeah.
Or the dunk that never happened, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm making it all up. But I think at the very end, they did like just a session on the basketball hoop. And it was it like a best dunk? Best?
I think, yeah. I don't know what they...
Best something on the basketball hoop. I don't know if you needed a dunk, just best trick, but I think they were looking for dunks.
Yeah. I mean, it's basketball. Yeah.
And, dude, I low-key laced up a front wally through the leg dunk, and no one filmed it. And I low-key, I didn't even know I made it, because when you're in the air, you can't, like, look down at the hoop. You're going too fast to, like, pay attention to where the ball actually goes.
Yeah.
But it was like mid-front wally, chuck it through my legs, and then swished it. But no one filmed it. And I have photo evidence, actually.
Yeah?
So I have evidence that it went through while I'm in the Wally, but there's no video of it. And I was really hoping there was, because that was like what I was most hyped on leaving that trip with.
Yeah, I mean, that was sick. I didn't see it, so that's,
yeah.
I guess it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
But here it's fiction, right?
Unless you were there.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
But maybe that's how it's supposed to be.
Maybe it is.
It is meant to be for the soul.
For the soul. I mean, that's a good one for the soul,
Yeah.
dude. Like, just a soul dunk. All right, before we wrap this up, let's talk. You took a good slam after the Roenick shoot, like, what, 2 or 3 years ago? I'll put the clip in, but.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 years ago, maybe. Oh. Maybe it's 3. I could be wrong. But, yeah, just fresh off the snowboarding season. I don't even know if the snowboarding season was done in Michigan yet. Like, they might have been overlapping, and Ruck hit me up about coming down for the product shoot. Not flexing, because I probably wasn't good enough to be at it. But he invited me, and I was hyped. And wakeboarding season hadn't started back home yet. So it had been like 6 months since the last time I wakeboarded. And so going into it, I was already super nervous because I was like, there's going to be all the big name people. And I'm going to look like such a fool next to all these fools, like not being able to do anything. And went down, had a couple days at Lake Roenick's doing the shoot, and then John, Gavin, and I went out winching one day, went to that famous white rail downtown. I forget what it's called. It's got a name, though. Dylan Miller did like a turnaround on it and a wall ride. But we go there. John gets a clip, like backtail same way, I think. Gavin does like a front 270. I'm pretty sure. And then I was contemplating hitting it the whole time, but they made it look so chill. So I was like, oh, screw it. Like, it'll be chill. Like, I'll just go front lip it, and then maybe, I think I was thinking, like, front lip, tail tap, same way. Which is so far-fetched, looking back at it. Like, I had no business even hitting it.
Your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Yeah, I don't think I'd hit a transfer...
Like kicker to rail like that?
Kicker to rail that tall on a winch. And I hadn't wakeboarded yet. Or I wakeboarded at Lake Roenick's, but that really doesn't get you that prepared.
Yeah. More prepared than a full size, but definitely nowhere near prepared, yeah.
And I think I had like 2 days. And we'd go out for like 10-minute sessions getting one photo.
Yeah.
So it's not really like you're seshing. And I rode past it like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, all right, I'll just go up and hit it. Didn't cut nearly hard enough. Didn't jump high enough. And at the end of the rail, there's like this concrete bank going into the water, but it sticks up. And it's like curbs, but like a maze of curbs almost. Like they're all zigzagged and whatnot. So it's not just a flat slab. It's like all got these different bumps and whatnot. And I fell off early, had no time to bail. My nose, I kind of turned backwards into it so I wouldn't hit my face on it. But board just, I'm full speed on the winch to dead stop back edge straight onto like lumpy concrete. And
it's comical how fast you come to a stop in that clip.
It's dead stop. It's like full like 20 miles an hour to 0 instantly onto concrete. Somehow walked away, like being able to walk away, but my arms were just super like just destroyed from the concrete. Like I think the back of my neck was a little messed up. My back hurt really bad. The flight home kind of sucked.
Damn.
But it was I was pushing the limit way too far. Way farther than I needed to at the time.
And that's the most dangerous thing you can do is push the limit way too far.
Yeah. Which now I know. But
all right. Well, I mean, I think that was a excellent pod. Great one. I had a lot of fun. Is there anything else you want to touch on or anybody you want to thank before we wrap this up?
I'd like to thank my parents the most. Definitely wouldn't be here without y'all. Y'all are the best. They want nothing but the best for me and my brothers. It's the sickest. It's like my dad almost pushes me more to go do things than I do myself. Like he's always wanting us to go somewhere new. Like if I get the opportunity to go somewhere else, he's pushing me to do it more than I'm probably pushing myself. Like he wants us to go do everything while we're young and whatnot. So I'm super grateful for them. Super grateful for all my friends. Ben, especially, for filming me in all the cold ass street spots. Like filming 0 degrees out there for a few hour battles. Super blessed. He's like the sickest, super good at filming. And Colin's the only reason I got as good as I am. And yeah, there's plenty more people, but probably too many to actually thank.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
But my parents, the must.
Mama Pop, dude, that's OG for sure.
Bless.
Love it. Yeah, your parents are sick. Your mom's badass too.
Yeah.
She's sick. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for coming on. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys are interested in supporting the show, join the Patreon. That helps a ton. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.